No, I don't have it, so actually I don't really see what thing to do.
Sorry. The description from your last job.
Yeah.
You not have an email,
Maybe. I'll check my emails. But I just thought that I'd seen it somewhere at some point.
Fair enough.
Maybe I did. Maybe it's gone now.
Cool. Why just actually? No, you're fine. You're fine. Good evening. Can you hear me okay? So I bought this new model because I thought that I needed it. I thought it looked like he was on some sort of like giant scenic base. If I'd known that he's on literally a 40mm base, I think I would have just stuck onto. Like I can't. My day is ruined and my disappointment is immeasurable. Like what? Like what? Like seriously what? Like I could have just stuck any other old. I could have just stuck my current Sanguinor on a slightly bigger base. Really? Guys, you let me down. Hello Ardeen, hello Mullen. I wish someone said that like, I suppose I should have got the new model eventually, huh? We'll finally make a judgment call on if his head's any good, right? So that's where we're starting tonight. Does Sanguinor for the Angelic Inheritors Detachment, because apparently that's all the rage now. Oh, I don't see chat. I do see it, but not properly. I'm currently changing Sanguinor's wings for the next to match Sanguinius's model wings. Hello, Jim. I really dislike. What do you really dislike? I really dislike the head he has. I mean, I don't know if it looks as bad. Come on, autofocus. What are you doing tonight? Are you going to work? Maybe? No? I think... Oh, maybe I've got to press... I did go continuous autofocus. I think I might have figured out my autofocus issue. Continuous autofocus. Come on. Can't get much closer than that, it feels like. I don't think it looks as bad as it did in the painted version that was on the Games Workshop website, right? Whose face is it? Well, I guess it's just this one random dude. The Sanguinor. I mean, like, is he a warped demon or is he just a dude? Kind of feels like it. The face they've given him just means he's any old random dude, right? You were not kidding when you said the Army Dreadnought took hours to build. It was all afternoon. Yeah, it took me like 5 hours to build the Army Dreadnought. It's a nightmare. Oh, you found your Hindu photos.
Yeah, I'm fine. Look at this.
That's the thing that I find when I'm on my computer looking for some old photos or some old files. I find like a million videos of the kids, or like you said, like old holiday photos. I never actually find what I'm looking for. And yeah, so I feel like I was gonna. I feel like I'd been missing out, and I thought, oh, the Sanguinor's good now. I should buy him. And then I opened the box and the space fell out, and I just looked at the space and I honestly was disappointed. I was like, I thought that the whole point of this Primarison size nonsense was to give them a nice hefty base. I think he was going to have like a Dante size base. Maybe it's just comparing it to Dante and you're like, oh, okay. Hey, he's more points than Dante. Shouldn't he be a bigger base than Dante? I'll see you later, love. I'll come down and see you. Finish streaming.
Looking at you.
Oh, okay, yeah. Cool. Dante does have a bigger base, yeah. But Dante is 10 points less expensive, huh? Maybe that's why I was expecting a Dante-sized base. And then, like I said, my disappointment was if I'd known he was just on that size base, I swear to God, I would have just stuck my current Sanguinor on a bigger base and saved myself $22. Because I don't mind buying new models or new characters if there's a reason, i.e. like they're on bigger bases and they have better rules. But when it feels like it's the exact same rules as it was before and we've refreshed the model for literally no reason other than really to refresh the model, I'm not sure I like that. It just feels like I'm being ripped off maybe a little bit. I'll put on a few more lights in here. Howdy Ryan, how you doing? I low-key just painted up the old Sanguinor and then dropped this one, kind of refusing to buy it, and then this one dropped. Well, I only bought this one this week, and I literally only bought it because I feel like it's worth playing in Angelic Inheritors, and like I said, I honestly thought he was in a much bigger base. If someone in chat last week had said that he was just on a 40, because I'm pretty sure this is, maybe even says underneath. No, it doesn't say. I'm sure it'll probably say on here actually, won't it? Yeah, he's on a 40. If I'd known he was on a, because my current one's on a 32, I would have just slapped my current one on a bigger base like I did with the Sangre Guard, where I just glued them on top. It saved myself $30. Is the rest of the model worth the $30 compared to the one that I already had? Probably not. Is the model not being better enough of a reason? Is it better? I mean, he's got a pretty ugly head now. Like I said, if a model gets upgraded and it's got like new rules and new mechanics, then cool. But if it's the exact same shit as it was before, then you're literally just selling me the same model to sell me it twice. I'm not a huge fan of that. How am I using? Am I going to use the wings that came with them or switching them out? I hadn't got to the point where... Let me get to the point where I have to decide on the wings. For starter, it's not Finecast. My Sanguinor, I'm pretty sure, is metal. Now I'm going to have to check. Mine's Finecast. I must have a metal. I do have a metal one, but this one's Finecast. Yeah, I mean, the Finecast doesn't have the greatest detail in it, sure. Sure. I do like that model, though, even though it is Finecast. I've had to change about 40% of my models at this point. Yeah, well, I mean, I think the plan is probably that they want you to rebuy everything that you already bought. Maybe, I mean, Terminators aside, because they're allowed to. You're allowed to. The new Terminators are the same rules or the same stuff. I'm slow. I'm probably the most. I don't like change in general. Like, I came home from work this week and my wife told me she wanted to change a bunch of lampshades, and I'm like, why are we changing something that isn't broken? So I'm just generally averse to change anyway. So I'm just one of those people. I like what I like. Don't change it on me. I wasn't a fan of the wings, the head, and the fact he has the same sword. Says Ryan. I actually kind of like his sword with the little blood angels. Like, do you call that a pommel? Just above the, or a hilt, maybe? Maybe it's a hilt, maybe it's a pommel. I don't know the exact wording. But I like the sword. Glue a coin to the base. What, the new one needs a coin glued to the base, or the old one does? I like how faithful the new guy is to the old one, just bigger and better. Well, there you go. There's an array of opinions here in chat tonight. Good evening, everyone, by the way. I've been working on a video for Friday to talk all about Blood Angels at LVO. So I've got a pretty in-depth video coming on Friday. I wanted to start playing Angelic Inheritors on stream. I want to do that next week. So to do that next week, after I get this guy built, I need to do a little bit of painting here tonight. I've got 4 characters to go through. I'm going to be bouncing between all 4 of them, basically. The characters that I've got to go through for painting are, I've got a Sanguinor model with a banner, so he needs some paint on him. I've got the Blood Angels captain on foot we built last week with the Tycho head. He needs some paint on him. I've also got a stupid fucking plaster on my finger that's catching on all these little intricate details. I've got this Blood Angels captain with the double axes with a jump pack, so he needs some paint as well. And then the last model that we sprayed this week was the Combi Weapon Lieutenant. I ran out of red spray halfway through, so he's going to need a coat of red to begin with. I was on the very end of my red spray paint. I did spray some other models as well, but these are the 4 characters that I want to get going potentially for my Angelic Inheritors list. Greetings, Alex, how you doing? Don't know if I've butchered a bit of his foot there, trying to get him off the sprue, maybe. I've been swapping out his wings, head and sword. I had to fix up his chest a bit. How does he look with, like... How do you look with, like, the Crimson Lord wings? Has anyone tried them with that? Do they look right, or do they look wrong on him? I was actually going to ask, how does he look with Sanguinor Guard wings, but we don't have Sanguinor Guard wings anymore, huh? I put wings on my Dante. I put Firstborn Sanguinor wings on Dante. It was funny because at the tournament I was playing, I was trying to hide Dante, and his wings were getting in the way when I was playing, and I was like, you know, this model doesn't even have wings. I just put on the wings because I feel like Dante should have wings. He's never had wings. My firstborn Dante never had wings, but I made my Primaris Dante have wings. I need a nail file just to clean up some of these bits a little bit further. Here's one. I guess if I'd bought the Horus Heresy Primarch, the wings from him would have made a lot of sense. Evening, Camo, how you doing? I still can't believe you missed the one week in the entire year where I ran Reavers Camo. You missed it. Can't believe it. Even in Vintage, how you doing? Is Wednesday night a good night for you guys when it comes to hobby? Do you guys do a hobby on a Wednesday night normally? I love the smell of plastic glue. Takes me back 20 years every time you smell it. Did everyone see the Starters 2 trailer? I saw it came out, but I've had a bit of a nightmare day with like car emergencies and car problems. So I haven't seen it yet. I'd probably watch it like after the stream, or I mean I could watch it during the stream I suppose. I might get copyright struck, so probably after the stream I guess. Was it good? Everybody excited? Is the Sanguinor for the Angelic Inheritors list? Yes, 100%. That's pretty much why I bought him. But if I'd realised that he was just on a bigger base, I feel like I would have just... I feel like if I'd realised it was just a 40mm base, I think I would have just stuck my current Sanguinor on a 40mm base and been done with it. I mean, I will probably get all the Blood Angels, new characters... over time. I still haven't bought the Sanguinary Priest, because I honestly don't know how you even think about including that Sanguinary Priest in any sort of Blood Angels army. The only option is like 10 Assault Intercessors on foot or something, and I'm not running that. If that Sanguinary Priest could attach to Blade Guard, he would be so dope. I was thinking about that today. I would be all over that Sanguinary Priest if he could attach to Blade Guard. I really don't know why he can't. I think he'd be great. I think it would be so good. Alright, we're doing big, long parchments. 2 of which that stick into the jump pack, that stick into that. And then the wings attach to the jump pack. I think I might just build this guy stock, because if I start messing around, it's going to take my whole evening to mess around with him, right? I was going to say, maybe we just build him stock, but maybe we just swap out the head. Every night is hobby night, says Linus. Yeah, I wish for me every night was hobby night, Linus. You get so much done when you can hobby every night. I keep thinking about that, and I keep thinking about when my kids are older and can amuse themselves and they can put themselves to bed and I can just be my own person of an evening again. Then I might actually get models and armies finished again at a reasonable speed. I'm looking forward to it. Sanguinary Priest with Blade Speed of the Primarch. I just think the Sanguinary Priest with the 5-up Feel No Pain would be great on Blade Guard. And the extra AP would be really good, because the extra AP would make them a bit like Sanguinary Guard, right? Like the AP3. So I would love to have some... I'd love to have some AP3 Blade Guard with a 5-up Feel No Pain. I think they'd be super dope. With or without Speed of the Primarch, right? If he drops points, it could be interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is he's just way too many points. But the interesting thing about it is, like, if he's way too many points... How many people have we got in chat? Like 34 people. Cool. So how many of you actually bought the Sanguinary Priest, like the new model? Because I know loads of people had Sanguinary Priest with jump packs. That's what I had. Did anyone run out and buy the new Sanguinary Priest? I mean, I know some people like to just collect everything, and it's like, I play Blood Angels, so I will just buy every single release. I think at one point that was me. I would just buy every single release. I mean, I still buy generally most of the releases, but I guess if there's a unit, like, I've got the army, I've got the Start Collecting box and Stark Imperium. So Dark Imperium, Leviathan, Indomitus, there was another one, Shadow something, right? Shadow Spear, the Blood Angels Death Company box. So I have all the big starter boxes, like I buy them all. But if it comes to like an individual character, if I look at his profile, I'm like, I don't think he's very good. I don't know how to play him. He doesn't fit in my list. I can't, you know, like if I don't see any reason to pay him, I'm not just going to throw 30 bucks at him, right? I mean, I have done in the past. Like I bought Lieutenant Tolmeron. I think I've owned Lieutenant Tolmeron probably for like 7 years. I don't think he ever has been. I've maybe played him in one game. I think that might be generous. I honestly don't think I've ever played Lieutenant Tolmeron. But I've got him, I've painted him, I completed him, right? Back when, like, I guess he was kind of I think at one point Lieutenant Tolmeron might have been the only Primaris character we had, right? I kit bashed all my priests for Black Templars. Says Ryan, cool. I didn't buy the priest, but the model looks kind of cool. I might still have the priest in his box doing nothing. Alright, so somebody bought him. The Sanguinor priest is generally unplayable for me. Did anyone actually... So, the only person that bought him is Highland Phoenix? Anyone else buy him? And Highland Phoenix hasn't even taken him out of his box. VT says if I was going to buy a random character, there's about half a dozen further up the list. 5-up Feel No Pain on a 4-up Invan would be way too strong. Have you ever played against Chaos Spawn, Maulin? I think last edition as well, Black Templars had a Black Templars had an oath or a relic that could just give the Terminators a 5-up Feel No Pain on their Terminators, right? I think you have to make every night a hobby night if you want to finish an army. Well, that or you just need to stay on the same army for 18 years like I have, Linus. I mean, Vanguard Veterans had basically that. Yeah, Vanguard Veterans had a 4-up Invan, and they could have they could be led by the Sanguinor Priest. So I mean, it wasn't insanely broken. I never played. I didn't care about Sanguinor. What they called? I didn't care about Vanguard Veterans. I know some people did. I didn't though. I didn't think it was broken enough where it's like, oh, I have to have Vanguard Veterans. Terminator's 100 points more expensive than Blade Guard. Yeah, they also have a 2-up save and toughness 5. It's not like they get nothing. Last edition we could make a crazy powerful apothecary. Yeah, I think Black Templars had that. Terminators that could have a 5-up Feel No Pain, right? And it was pretty good. Black Templars can still give their if Black Templars can still give their Terminators a 5-up Feel No Pain, I feel like there's no reason that Blood Angels should not be allowed to give Blade Guard a 5-up Feel No Pain. I think 6 Blade Guard are actually 5 points more expensive than Terminators now. Aren't Terminators 175 and Blade Guard like 180? Blade Guard also get a load of it. Like, Blade Guard shooting is non-existent, but they do get a load of attacks. I think it's 4 base per model, right? I kind of want to try Blade Guard inside Angelic Inheritors, because I think that's going to be pretty cool. Just because I think they get like a good weight of attacks. You could then always use their shield ability defensively, because you get the reroll ones to hit anyway from the Angelic Inheritors detachment. But I think my next Angelic Inheritors detachment, or my next game with it, I'm going to use a Chaplain on a bike, because nobody uses that. I'm going to use Outriders, and I'm going to use Terminators led by a Librarian. I'm going to give that at least 1 or 2 games. Because I already know what, like, I know I like Impulsors, I know I like Blade Guard, but I don't know if I like the Chaplain on a Bike, and I don't know if I like Terminators. So if I give them a couple of games, maybe get a couple of different opponents, feel how I feel about them, and then start working on crafting my next tournament list. Terminators are 10 points cheaper than Blade Guard now, are they? Didn't realise it. I thought it was 5, but okay. Yeah, I haven't played Terminators in a hot minute. That's why I want to try them. I played them like right when 10th edition came out, and I feel like they weren't good when 10th edition first came out. Can't remember why I felt they weren't good, but I played them in Gladius, and I felt like they weren't good. But then maybe not. I was going to say I feel like I rapid ingress them. I was going to say maybe not everyone was using rapid ingress quite as aggressively at the start of 10th edition. I think you would always take Sanguinor Guard over Blade Guard and Angelic Inheritors. I was thinking of taking both, man. Like 3 units of 3 Sanguinor Guard. Like, I think that's the shit. But then add some Blade Guard as well, like 3-man units of Blade Guard, maybe with like the Judasar or something. What do I feel about Company Heroes? I mean, I like Company Heroes. I'm very close to having 2 squads of Company Heroes. I could field 2 captains with 2 squads of Company Heroes inside 2 Impulsors. I'd probably only need to paint for like 1 evening or like 2 hours to be able to make that happen. And I'm tempted, because Company Heroes with reroll 1s to hit and wound is good, because Company Heroes have some decent shooting. Yeah, exactly. In the detachment, minimum size squads of Sanguinor Guard are best. So you want 3 units of Sanguinor Guard to do a lot of melee damage, but then what other units do you want melee damage? Good evening, Grain of Truth. Loads of people are showing up now. Hello, happy Wednesday night. I'm happy to see you all. Hello, Ouch. Good evening. Blood Buffalo says Terminators with strength 10 fists is strong. I mean, I think Terminators and Angelic Inheritors is good even as well, because reroll 1s to hit and wound all the time is good as well, right? The next game I play, I'm gonna try Terminators and Angelic Inheritors. I really want to try them. I think they'll be good. I'm gonna take the Librarian with them as well, because I think with Sustained they'll be even better. So that's what I'm gonna try. When am I gonna put suppressors in the list? I was thinking of trying a squad of suppressors for Angelic Inheritors, but I can't try everything in one battle. I did just try Reavers this week, or last week as well, right? Like, you know. But yeah, I've got a video about the LVO 3rd placing Blood Angels list coming out on Friday. I wasn't entirely sure if I was going to do it justice, but I feel like it's going to be a pretty good video that comes out on Friday. Sometimes with YouTube I can feel good about a video or bad about a video, and then sometimes it doesn't correlate to views at all. I could feel really bad about a video and everybody loves it, but I feel like this is a video that I actually feel good about, so I think you guys will enjoy Friday's video. And it covers the Inceptors as well, doing their uppy-downy shenanigans in that detachment, because that is definitely something that you can do. How's the weather been for everybody? Are you guys happy it's the end of January? I am. It's been pretty cold this last couple of weeks here in Scotland. And we had that, like, it wasn't quite a hurricane come through earlier in the week, but we did have like 100-mile-an-hour winds and stuff. So everything that was lying about in the garden got thrown all over the place. Evening, Tarzan. I'm taking 6 Blade Guard led by Judasar to camp behind the ruins the combi weapon lieutenant is holding, so he can reactive closer to them, and then if the opponent charges they can heroic. There you go. Look about that. Are you still playing lag, or are you playing Oh, I never even thought, like... Yeah, I never even thought about putting the Judasar in the Blade Guard. Yeah, so you can still do fight first multiple times in Inheritors. Oh, yeah, so I actually really... I might like that more then than... I'm going to try Terminators, but I might like that more, right? Like, it's just like... So just have 3 units of 3 Sanguinor Guard, and then have like 2 units of 3 Blade Guard, both with Judasars, so it's just like the Blade Guard are going to heroic and fight first, potentially, or just fight first when they're charged. They can do both. How many attacks does a Judasar get base again? I don't often play the Judasar. Must be like 6, right? Greeting, Brandon. How you doing? Hello, maybe Apollo. I might get Dante. I've not been wanting to use any Blood Angels models, but that Purity Seal cloak would be really cool for my Tomb Keepers. Does Dante have a Purity Seal cloak? I mean, I've been painting Dante, but maybe I haven't been paying that much attention. You know, you get a cloak with the captain. What's the model? This model gives a cloak as well now. This one. It comes with a cloak too. Now. I have that sprue somewhere. I just can't think. I recently took that sprue out of the box to put all these old paintbrushes in there. I don't know why I'm keeping so many old paintbrushes. Don't ask me. I'm probably just too lazy to filter through them and figure out which ones I'm getting rid of. I'd probably throw away the whole box, it wouldn't really matter. I've got other paintbrushes. Oh, not Dante? You mean the Sanguinor? Yeah, this isn't Dante, this is the Sanguinor we're doing tonight. I mean, he doesn't really have a cloak, he just has this long ass Purity Seals, which would probably work pretty nice on Tomb Keepers, to be honest. But they do, one of them is attached to this jump pack, so you would be I was gonna say, you'd have to do some, like, one half of it, the jump pack is attached to one half, so you only glue one half back together, if that makes sense. So the next thing to do is actually to stick him to his jump pack, and then stick him on the base. Okay. Strength 5 is fine. It's Strength 7, EP 2 dev, and precision. Oh yeah, so he gets precision as well. So here's the thing. Company heroes get some good precision. The Judasar gets some good precision. I'm wondering if there's something like, you know, you've got those 3 units of Sanguinor Guard, then you've got like a couple of small units of Blade Guard, you've got a couple of small units of Company heroes. And then you're backed up with, like, you know, your Vindicator tanks. And some other things that, like, las cannon equivalent type shenanigans. I think there's something pretty decent potential in that, right? Yeah, I'm pretty used to chopping up models as well, but tonight I'm being lazy. I think the only part I might swap out on this guy is the head. We'll see. I've got paint I need to put on like 4 other models tonight, so. I've played so many tournaments not knowing the company heroes have precision. I feel sorry for you because only the guy with a sword has precision. But when you attach him to a captain, and the captain has precision as well, and you do Finest Hour, dude, you get like 16 attacks with precision. And I guess in Angelic Inheritors with the reroll 1s, to hit and wound, you could I feel like you can just precision out anything. Like, probably like any any toughness 5 or less character, maybe even T6 or 7, you can just instantly precision them out. Like, they just have to take an overwhelming number of saves and they're gone. And don't forget the Blade Guard get to use the shields. That's what I was saying, right? The Blade Guard would always be rerolling hits and wounds, so you could always use their shield ability. So the Blade Guard become more survivable. So I think Blade, like, I know Jack Harpster didn't use any Blade Guard, he didn't use any Terminators, he didn't use any Outriders. I was going to say he didn't use any company heroes, but I think all those units are really good in Angelic Inheritors, right? Are you thinking more on Angelic Inheritors than Lag? Well, the thing is, Brandon, I don't know if you watched the video where I took Lag to a tournament 2 weeks ago, or... yeah, it was like the 18th I was at that tournament playing Lag. I feel Lag is good. I honestly feel Lag is good, and I honestly feel like I could have at least won one more game in that tournament. Like, I could have definitely been 4-1. Couple of misplays in a couple of games for sure. But I suppose the interesting thing for me was when do I think I missed a bit. Yeah, I forgot to stick his shoulder pads on. I hope that's not going to be a problem. No, I think it'll be okay. And I think I forgot to stick on the front of the cup. I was distracted talking to you guys. So I need to stick on the front of the cup and his shoulder pads. I think Lag is good. I like it. I'd play it again. What's this little shoulder pad bit for? What? Oh, that's the front of the cup. Okay. And I feel like the list that I played at that tournament was a really solid Lag list, right? Like, it just felt really strong into... probably into 4 of the matches, and then one matchup... The one matchup that was, like... So there was one matchup that I played, which was playing against Gav, and if you've seen Gav on stream, Gav has won probably 10 GTs in his life. Gav wins a lot of tournaments. He always finishes, like, top 5. I've actually only ever beaten him once. The one time I did beat him was when I won the GT. But I've played him like 10 times. And he's just a very, very good player. And he usually is bringing... I wouldn't say he's always bringing, like, quote-unquote, a top meta army. But you know that whatever army he's bringing, he's built a really, really strong list. So he was running that Bridgehead detachment, which is the Imperial Guard detachment that was very, very powerful. It had a 65% win rate the week of LVO. Like, it just had a crazy high win rate, that detachment. It was really, really strong. And that game was a loss by, like, let's say 15 points. But I fucked up 2 times, I think, which cost me about 10 points. Bear in mind, like, I never played that detachment before. So if I play that detachment again, I do not make those same mistakes again. So I guess you gotta factor that in a little bit. Yeah, I did lose by 17 points, but if I play that detachment again, I'd probably only lose by 10 points. I went second. I really didn't want to go second in that game because that puts me on the back foot. I can't react as well as I can. Sorry, I went first. I really wanted to go second. He wanted to go second as well, to be fair. So we both want to go second. So that cost me maybe a few points. So at that point, is it just a 2-point game? So I feel like Liberator Assault Group isn't... Like, if it can take on a 65% quote-unquote broken detachment and only lose by a couple of points, then I feel like, you know, on another day where I spike some invulnerable saves or win a combat, then all of a sudden... it is indeed the Sanguinor Kyle. All of a sudden, that is a completely winnable game. In the other game that I played that I lost at the tournament, I was doing a bunch of charges in like turn 3, and I left a Bloodthirster on 1 wound. And I don't know if you know this, but at the end of a combat, Bloodthirster just sparks out like tons of extra bonus mortal wounds. And obviously, if I leave him on 1 wound, he gets to fight as well with like 14 attacks or something. So I left this Bloodthirster on 1 wound, and he destroyed like a whole unit of Jump Intercessors and a whole unit of Sanguinor Guard. And I actually didn't need to leave him on 1 wound. I had another unit that could have charged him, but I charged something else that was really not important. I lost that game by 7 points. So it's like if I charge him into the Bloodthirster, and what's messed up is the Bloodthirster paid CP to interrupt, and that's what I didn't consider. So if I'd had it in my head, oh yeah, he's got 2 CP, he'll probably interrupt with the Bloodthirster, then I would have charged with a 3rd unit, and I would have guaranteed killing him, and I've kept 3 of, arguably, at least possibly 1 or 2 more of my units alive. So it's like I played this list, I played 2 lists, the 2 games I lost, I feel like I really almost did well. So I think, like, if I was ready to go to another tournament tomorrow, and I don't think there's any tournaments around me that I can go to locally at the moment anyway, and even if there was one, I'd probably need to wait like another month or two, because like it's an awful lot to leave my wife for the whole weekend with the 2 young children. But if I was ready to go to another tournament tomorrow, like, would I run that lag list again? Yeah, 100%. Would I love to face the people that beat me again with the same lists again? Yeah, 100%. Because I think the second time round, knowing what I know, not making a couple of silly plays because I haven't played their armies in a while, not, you know, those games, both my losses were definitely winnable games. So I feel like while I might not run Liberator Assault Group now for a couple of months, I feel like I've got a good list. If push came to shove, would I run the list that I ran this weekend past or last weekend past to another tournament? 100%. I think the games that I won really solid, and I think I was the problem. The list wasn't the problem, right? Like, I was the reason that I didn't win those games, not the list. The list did exactly what I wanted it to do. So, yeah, am I going to be playing some Angelic Inheritors? Yes. Am I off Liberator Assault Group? Not by a long shot. I will likely probably play it at some point in the future. I'm not even 100% sure yet if I'm fully loving Angelic Inheritors. I did love the game that I played with it, but it does sort of change it a little bit into Hero Hammer, right? You have less units. There's something nice about Liberator Assault Group, where basically in Liberator Assault Group, even a cheap unit of jump intercessors will just jump in and slap the enemy, right? Like, I feel like you've got more throwaway units in Liberator Assault Group, maybe. Does that answer your question, Brandon? Hero Hammer is fun. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not fun. I mean, if you played Blood Angels years ago, then you definitely played Hero Hammer. I mean, I feel like I played Blood Angels when, like, your army was just so many characters. Jump Pack Captains, 129 points. That's odd, you just got an ad? Yeah, so I got a few weeks ago, speaking of ads, someone complained, I think it was in one of the live streams, they were like, John, why do you insert so many ads to videos now? And if you guys could see, I don't know if I can, yeah, maybe, maybe maybe sometime I need to take a screenshot. If I don't manually go in now and delete a load of ads, like actually, like, so let's say this live stream goes live tomorrow, for example, right? Like, I film it, I'm live just now. When the live stream ends, YouTube processes the video for like 2 hours or 3 hours or however many hours, and then it goes live, right? If I don't manually go in and remove a crap load of advertisements, like, I'm talking like absolute crap load, then like I think I did a hobby hangout on Saturday, and I honestly think it was like a 4-hour hobby hangout. I honestly think YouTube tried to put like 50 ad placements into that 4-hour hobby hangout. So YouTube is putting like probably more than 10 ad placements an hour. I was like, when I'm watching YouTube, I have noticed, like, I watch other channels on YouTube, and I have noticed over the last few years that they just put more and more and more ads in now, and the ads are getting longer. Like, sometimes you get like minute long unskippable ads now, right? You didn't get that like a year ago, right? So YouTube's changing, and unfortunately I don't really have any control over that. What do you think about Vindicator tanks? They seem kind of nice and lag with the blast and melee rule. Well, the blast and melee rule is only if enemy units are within melee of you, right? In general, though, Vindicator tanks are great. I've been running them all edition. I think I was running them when they were like 210 points, and now they're down at 175. So I think Vindicator tanks are just generally very... I think it's the Strength 14 that probably pushes them over the edge, right? Because Strength 14 usually means you wound enemy armor or monsters on 3s, which is meaningful because most las cannons may end up wounding them on 4s. So I own 2 Vindicator tanks. I've run both of them in a tournament list this edition. I've also ran one of them in a tournament list edition, like with some other fire support. I think you can run 1 Vindicator. I think you can run 2 Vindicators. I think it's totally fine to run either number. The only issue I have with buying Vindicator tanks, I guess, is they are Firstborn tanks. And there is a danger that Firstborn units will be made legends. And that means that you spend your hard-earned money on essentially nothing. Or a unit that you maybe can only field until 11th edition. 11th edition will be summer 2026. They have not announced it. But I'd be willing to probably bet like a testicle on the fact it will be summer 2026, because they haven't missed a summer now for the 10 years or so I've been back in the hobby. Every summer, 3 years apart, there's a new edition with a new starter set, and the starter set will always contain new Marines, and some of the old Marines will be legends. That is what happens every 3rd summer. Valrak has hinted 11th might be the end of this year. Like I said, I'd be willing to probably bet a testicle it's next summer. Like, I don't think they're going to change that. Having it by this year would be pretty shitty, considering how many codexes are still missing this year, right? Because I know last time round it was pretty shitty on, like, the armies that was like, oh, here's your codex. 2 months later, here's 11th edition. Oh, that does not feel good, you know. In fact, it probably feels like the worst. What's up, Rezio? How you doing, bud? If it goes to Legend, I'll stick it on a hover stand and call it a Gladiator. There you go, grain of truth. Grain of truth with the next level ideas. Strange they've started doing with ads is saying that you only have 10 seconds of ads left, then the final ad has a 3-minute ad, so you have to skip it, which causes the ads to run again sooner. I don't know. All I know is that YouTube are running a lot more ads. Sometimes it's honestly disgusting. Sometimes, like on like my tactics videos, I try and place like an ad every 6 minutes or something like that, because sometimes they take 2 of them and put them together. So like, if I've got a 30-minute tactics video, that might mean you get the ad at the start, you get one at 12 minutes, you get one at 24 minutes. It seems reasonable, right? But honestly, I've uploaded some videos and left the default, and I've looked at it, and a 30-minute tactics video could honestly have 20 ads in it by default now. It's like, Jesus, you know, I wouldn't watch a video that's 30 minutes with 20 ads in it, but I guess YouTube, it's that whole thing where they become a monopoly and then they can do whatever they want, right? I'd wager next summer as well, but they seem to be trying to speed up the remaining codexes. Yeah, well, I think they have to speed up the remaining codexes, Kyle, because it's it gets a bit dodgy at the end of the edition when you've waited the entire edition for your codex, and then it's like, I've been waiting the entire edition for my codex. It doesn't feel good to be playing with one like, I guess at least with Grotmus now there's 2 detachments, but yeah, it doesn't feel good to be like, this edition I had 1 detachment for the entire edition and I had index rules for the entire edition. Like that it's a general pretty feels bad moment, right? I saw a damn nice Devastator conversion on the main Facebook page yesterday. A Devastator conversion for what? Like actual, like, Space Marine Devastators? Or you're talking about the Devastator cannon on the Vindicator tank? A flying Vindicator tank would be so. Same complaint, different day? Yeah, I mean, I think we'll always have the same complaint, Reziel, until they decide to release all the codexes at the start of an edition, which I don't think will ever happen, but ultimately would be the best way ultimately it would be the best way. I think the reason they don't do that though is if they spread it out, people will buy more books, right? Like if they drop every codex day one, people would probably be like, my 3 favourite armies are X, Y, and Z, so I buy those 3. Whereas if they drop a codex or 2 every 3 months, people have time to fill up their wallets, so to speak, again, and then maybe buy an extra codex or not. Eldar's next week. Yeah, I've pre-ordered the Eldar Codex. It's the first time in about 20 years I've bought the Eldar Codex. So I've got that coming. Nick says, I finally broke my losing streak using lag with 2 Outriders, 2 ATVs, 2 jump pack intercessors for secondary, and I almost tabled them. There's something about strength in 2s, man. Good for you though, Nick. Well done. I love the fact you used Outriders. I had them in my tournament list. I like them. Is 2 Vindicators and 2 Ballistas is too much? Yeah, probably. And you don't need that much fire support. Pick 3 of those though. So 2 Vindicators and a Ballistas, or 2 Ballistas and a Vindicator? That would work. You can't stagger your model releases if you drop the codexes at the same time. You probably could. You could probably stagger them. Oh, well, yeah, I suppose you can't stagger your model releases. Huh. Well, then things will never change and we will never be fulfilled. How about them apples? Can you imagine balancing every codex day one? No, I don't think they would have them balanced day one, but what I think it would give them is a lot more time to balance. Because you would have like the whole 3 years of the edition, right? To balance the game. As opposed to like getting it balanced and then one new army comes out. How strong do people think Eldar will be with their new codex? Codex creep is a real thing. So I think Eldar will be reasonably strong. Would that be fair to say? I'm hoping they spread Legends over 11th and 12th edition. Who knows what they're going to do with Legends, Alex? It's an impossible one to guess, I guess. But I mean, they made pretty sweeping changes for Legends this edition, right? It was like, bang, all this stuff is Legends. Like, it was pretty significant. I'm going to try and find a different head than the Sanguinor head. I'm not sold on the Sanguinor head that I see here. I was going to say the old head was just a guy, just a face with hair, right? I mean, it wasn't that great. It just didn't look that bad, I guess. Okay. I'm probably just going to put a helmeted head on him, honestly. I don't even know if I've got any particular exciting heads. Oh, I've got that wreath head that I took off that captain the other day. Oh, maybe that's the head for him then. Or I've got a blade guard head. I mean, that might be okay. The old Sanguinor head was awesome. Well, maybe, I don't know if I go as far as to say it was awesome, but I feel like it was fine compared to the new one that like everybody hates, I guess. Do you know what? I took out one of these boxes, right? Like after Christmas, you know, like I've got all these bits boxes, like Heroes, Cadbury's Heroes, and I took this bits boxes out, right? And like my little son, who's like 3, was like, "Oh, Dad, I have Sweetie." I was like, "I'm sorry, Mike. There ain't no sweeties in this box. Something way more exciting. Yeah, maybe they're just the Blood Angel's head with the wreath. I mean, I guess he doesn't look like a warp demon, which would upset Tony. But I mean, he looked like a Blood Angel. Hello, McFatson. How you doing? Alright, well that is the Blood Angel's, that's the new Captain helmet. Because I didn't put it on this guy. I gave him like a Crimson Lord half Tycho face. I might just do that. Use the other one? What? Use the what? The one that actually came with? I've also got a Firstborn upgrade sprue here, apparently. This has some helmets on it, like... Hello, Paul. Like, I could put, like, an actual... What do you call that? Like, an actual Sanguinor head on him? Like, the old... Like, the OG Sanguinor, is that what we call them? So I've got that as an option. I kind of feel... I was going to say, will the OG helmet fit okay? Or is it too small? You could give him a... just paint his face gold like a mask. Yeah, this helmet might be a little bit small. I don't know if I like that. That's a Gravis helmet, that's not going to work. Death Company helmet, probably not. Speaking of Christmas, went to open my Slaves of Darkness Sorcerer Lord inside when not released new Death Guard character. That's an interesting surprise. For sure. You gonna message Games Workshop? Or you did already? I mean, you might be right here, Rezio, to just give him a... Yeah, I think these first... Because his arms are so up, I don't think I like these helmets. They don't... They're just not gonna sit very straight or center. The Stormcast Eternals might have a cool head for him. Do you know what? I've got a giant box of Stormcast Eternals. I've had it for like years and I've never used any of the pieces out of it. Alright, well maybe, do you know what? I don't love this head. The one that it came with. So I think based on that, what I'll do then is I'll wait and just yeah, I've got loads of I do have loads of Crimson Lord stuff because that's what I used. That's what I used in some of these other characters I'm going to get painting in a second. I don't want to spend my whole stream trying to figure out a head. So I'm just gonna put this guy to the side. I just want to put that head back in that other Polly Pocket because apparently I got them mixed up. Oh fuck, I don't know where that one's gone now. Okay, I've lost the wreath one. I would lose my own head if it wasn't attached to my body, I swear. Oh no, there it is. Oh, thank fuck. Okay, that's going in there. I do have crap loads of Crimson Lord's head, but I do also have the second edition Stormcast box that has never been opened. So it might be worth just having a look in there. What's that old phrase? If you can keep your head while everybody else is around you is losing theirs or something? That's the phrase, right? Rizio, you'd be pleased to know I ordered my first ever Eldar this weekend as well. I ordered the new Phoenix Lord and the Codex. So I should be getting the Eldar Codex next week. But these are the 4 characters that I need to paint for my Angelic Inheritors list. Or at least get battle ready. So that's what I want to... That's why I'm not live tonight, because I fucking hate playing games, especially on stream. I hate playing games, especially on stream, where I have grey models or unbattle ready models. So that's why I'm live tonight and not playing, because I'm going to try and get like 3 colours in all these guys. Trying to picture him with the skull-faced helms. Who's got a skull-faced helm? What character? What box? I think I've got the Blood Angels Chaplain. You know the Firstborn Chaplain that's got the skull head? Reavers of skull faces? Yeah, I just don't have any more Reavers at the moment. I'll have to have a hunt for what head he's going to get. Let me do some painting. Not really sure. The OG Tycho head. Well, I got Tycho's head on this guy, the new captain, right? I don't know how well you'll be able to see, but this is the Crimson Lord head, where one side's mask, one side's face. So if I put some paint on his face to show which side is the flesh, and then you'll be able to see the Tycho face on a Blood Angels captain, which should be cool. I was going to say, I've also been using these paintbrushes for so long, I wonder if it's time to break out a new paintbrush. I always use my paintbrushes for way too long, to the point where like it's actually hindering my painting process, because I'm using a brush that's like so foobar. I mean, these are all pretty cool characters, so there could be an argument to just say like it's time to use a new brush. Feels like a big deal. How we doing, Captain America? I'm looking forward to seeing your new movie. I think it's out in like 2 weeks, right? I'm going to dry brush all my Eldar. And I've got 5,800 points of painted Eldar now, Reziel, as well. Use the death mask the captain came with. What death mask the captain came with? Oh, the one the Blood Angels captain came with. I'm trying to picture it in my mind. I'm drawing a blank. Was it on the back of the combat patrol bot? This one. What heresy did you say? Yeah, I've got 5,800 points of painted... of Painted Eldar. Is that heresy to say that? Do you know what? This head looks like it'd be okay. He's got hair. I don't want to waste too long on it. A few people are saying the captain mask might be the way to go. Let's try it. Get him off. I'm too lazy to stand up and get the snips again. Yeah, do you know what? It fits quite well actually. It doesn't get hit by the shoulder pads. Does it? Fiddly, this little fucker, isn't he? What do we think? It's alright. I think it's better than the one it came with. These are the wings that he came with. So I didn't do anything fancy with the wings, I'm just using the ones that he came with. You like it, Benno? You are the voice of authority tonight. Because I need someone to make a decision, because I can't, so let's do it. Looks sick compared to Caveman Angel. Thanks, Multi-Luck. Why is he T-posing? I have no idea. Because that's what the original pose looked like. Crip says no. Don't blame me for the hate. Do you know what? I get a lot of hate for random conversions that I do. I think that looks good. It looks better than the one that came with for sure, I feel like. I don't know where else I would have used this captain helm, so why not? I think it's good. Just angle it down a tiny bit. Good. You think your Sanguinor will just be headless? Cool. Well, mine's got a head now. Job's done. I was gonna say, we got a lot of new people on the channel that haven't seen my pride and joy. Look, this is my pride and joy. Look at this guy. You will love this guy. How do you like this? How do you like these apples? People hate this model. I really need to post on like Reddit, like, tell me what's cooler, a Terminator with a Primaris head or a Primaris Marine with a Terminator head. Do you use the base gold with Retributor armor? Yes, correct. This guy was sprayed gold with Retributor armor, correct. And then look, I mean, this one's pretty cool. This is a Judasaur with a Death Company helmet. That one worked pretty well, right? Oh, and I cut off his stupid little hourglass. That's the bit off the hourglass, right? That bit. The reason that he's got that bit on his arm is because the stupid little spindly bits holding the hourglass broke. So I was looking at it, I was like, how the fuck do I fix those spindly bits on the hourglass? The answer is, you don't fix them. You stick the hourglass to the base, and you give him a knife. Why is he... He's a blood angel. He's at home with a knife. Right? So, I like this model. I thought I'd done a good job on this model. But no, I know that my tastes are not the tastes of the wider Blood Angels community. That is for sure. I know this to be true. At least Hourglass is still there. My female Terminator with a Primaris head, that will get Reddit going. It would actually get Reddit going, yeah. That's the sad state of what Reddit is though, isn't it? But no, I know a lot of people don't like the Primaris heads on Terminators. I don't even really know why I did. I think at the time it was just like... I think at the time Primaris models had just come out. And I was just building Terminators. And I just thought, why not? And then everybody hated it. And then I just embraced it even harder when I found out that everybody hated it. I was like, oh great, everybody hates this Primaris Terminator head, and like I really didn't feel either way about it. Like I couldn't actually really care less that people hated it. But then when people started hating it, that's when I just loved it more, right? Hold on, I'm gonna get my light on so I can actually see what I'm painting. Right, yeah, I was in the middle of spraying this guy red, and my can of red ran out of spray paint, so that's why he looks like he has the worst spray paint job ever. No, he was I sprayed him white first, and I knew I was low on red paint, or I knew that my spray can was pretty low, and I was like, I'll just do as much of him as I can before this can runs out. So yeah, I was ambitious. I did like a bunch of models at the same time, and I shouldn't have done the other models. I should have just done him, but it's fine. It just take me a minute to quickly give this guy a base coat of red. Hipster Commander. Yeah, I don't know, man. Have you been ignoring my DMs to you, Antonius, anyway? What would 1,000-point Blood Angels look like teamed up from Knights? I think if you're going to do Angelic Inheritors, I'm really loving the idea of 3 units of 3-man Sanguinor guards, all led by characters. I think that's super dope. And then you're going to want Infiltrators, because I think Infiltrators are just super dope as well. Scouts, because they'll score you all the points. And then it depends on what you need to back up Knight-wise, right? Like, you've got a lot of Armigers. But you know, I think having played Sanguinor Guard for a few months now, the new variant of them, the new Primaris variant, I think I may actually think that the strongest way to run Sanguinor Guard now is in units of 3. Even in the Liberator Assault group, I might, if I was going to be playing that again, I might be tempted to run units of 3. Hello, Eugene. Do you think the Lost Brethren detachment will get any buff? At the moment, it's kind of awful. Lore-wise, it's great. Gameplay-wise, it's so bad. Yeah, I mean, gameplay-wise, it is so bad. It needs buffs. Will it get the buffs is a completely other question or topic. I honestly don't understand why, because we just had a balanced status light, and they didn't balance Lost Brethren at all, and they didn't balance Angelic Host at all, and I think both those detachments get literally no play and they're kind of garbage. I mean, maybe there's the odd player that plays them and thinks they're decent, but I think most Blood Angels players just avoid them. So I'm kind of, I agree, I feel like Lost Brethren needs a buff. For me to even consider ever playing it, it would need a significant buff. Do I think they're going to get it? The pessimist in me says no, but I really don't know why they wouldn't buff it. Like, the only reason I can see them not buffing it is that they're just sticking their head in the sand and being like, yeah, we just don't care about Lost Brethren, but I don't think that's good. You know, like, the detachments, there's detachments in every faction that have no play, right? And I mean, I suppose like the Space Marine book is a good example of that. Like, very few, some people play First Company veterans, but I think if we broke down the number of players in the player base that play First Company veterans, it's probably like 1% or something. Like, it's tragically underused because it's a really difficult detachment to get much benefit out of, but they've just left it, and I really don't like that they do that. Like, if a detachment is getting no play and stuff, I feel like they should be addressing it. Like, I don't think it's that hard to have a look or to revisit detachments that get no play and make them playable or make them viable. Like, I don't know why that isn't prioritized. Tom says, what's new to game? How would you build a 1,000-point lag list? I think I've got a few videos out, Tom, honestly, on 1,000-point lag. I think probably looking for... So on my channel, I've got a tactics playlist. That's every single video I've made for 10th edition. It's called like the 10th edition tactics playlist. I do a video a week, so there's probably about 100 videos in there now. Maybe not quite 100, but probably in the region of like 70 or 80. And there's definitely like 1,000... There's definitely videos in there for 1,000 points. Liberator Assault Group for sure. How strong or weak do you think Dante is with 6 Angry Guard? XX San, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. It's always nice to see some new people here, especially with super chats. I do really appreciate it. Dante plus 6 is pretty good, right? They don't always kill what they need to kill, but if you save Red Rampage for them, they're pretty good. You know, like in the tournament that I was at like 2 weeks ago, they were arguably one of the top performers. They're the unit that does the most damage in your Blood Angels list, typically. You do want to save Red Rampage for them. You do probably want to Rapid Ingress them, because I think their big weakness is they're not that survivable. So you want to Rapid Ingress them so you can bring them down obscured in your opponent's turn and charge into the target you really want dead. Try and soften up that target first with their Infernal Pistols and or any fire support that you have. Be it like a tank with some las cannons or something else that's got some long range firepower, or, you know, soften up the target a little bit and then charge them in. And yeah, Dante plus 6 is pretty expensive, but is also pretty good. I think 3-man Sanguinor Guard squads are really good, but I mean, I had a 6 as like my one big I'm reluctant to call it a death ball unit, but that's essentially what it is. It's your one big unit that's going to do, you know, 39 AP3 hits is what they can do, and you need to make sure that they do, you know, to get the most out of that unit, they need to get those 39 AP3 hits multiple times a game, or at least a couple, right? So that's how you should be aiming to play them. And I'm sure I've done a few videos on Sanguinor Guard as well. 6 times 3. I don't know if I feel like I would run 3 squads of 6 Sanguinor Guard, because I just think they're so expensive. That's probably why I'm more on team 3 units of 3, because they are so expensive. Like, by the time you include that one unit of 6 plus Dante, that's like 400 points. Like, that is expensive. That is a lot of points And just by doing that, you limit how many more big units of close combat units you can take in your list, right? Just by having that one big 400-point ball. Dante with 6 Sanguinary Guard, using Red Thirst and succumbing to Red Thirst, bounced off a block of Netherron race for me 3 months ago, and I still haven't run them again. Terrible for the cost. Yeah, Kevin, I had the same thing. I bounced at the tournament in one of the games that I lost with Dante, plus the 6, plus Red Rampage, plus I used Oath of Moment and everything, and I even shot the target with a Vindicator tank. I mean, occasionally they will bounce, and when they bounce, I think that's the thing. When the 6 bounce, it's horrific, right? And for the new people that don't know what bounce means, it means you jumped into the target that you needed to kill, you rolled all your dice, and you didn't kill it, so you like bounced off it, and then they probably kill you straight back, right? So when you bounce, yeah, it feels pretty horrific. And they do bounce. They aren't infallible, and they only usually wound on 4s against high toughness things. And if you only wound on 4s, then you can bounce. But does that stop me from running Dante plus 6? Probably not. If I'm running Liberator Assault Group, I think that probably Dante plus 6 is still a pretty good choice. But if you're running Angelic Inheritors, then I think I'd run three units of 3. 1 unit with Dante, 1 unit with the Captain, another unit with the Captain. But no, I get you. Yeah, you would lead the other 2 with Captains, Sand, and the advantage of leading them with Captains is you get the potential free stratagem usage, and you also get an additional point of strength when you're led by a Captain. And you probably want the Captain with a Power Fist, but I mean, you can go Thunder. Like if you're going to be Liberator Assault Group, you can go Thunderhammer. But Power Fist is probably my preferred. Just because you don't take the -1 to hit with the Power Fist, so you're still hitting on 2s, I think. And you still have a good number of attacks with the Power Fist, and obviously you have quite high strength with the Power Fist. So I think that's what you would do, or I think that's what I would do. The next time I run Angelic Inheritors, I'm going to be running Dante plus 2 Captains, both with Power Fists, plus 3 units of Sanguinary Guard in 3s. If I'm going to run Liberator Assault Group, I'll probably go back to running the 1/6. But the problem with the 6 is, like, it's harder. Like, when Sanguinary Guard get targeted, they still die hella fast. They are only toughness 4 Marines after all. And when your 6-man Sanguinary Guard start getting targeted by, like, lots of AP, like, decent AP, and multiple multiple damage, you know, like, Gaskell Thraka, for example, will do 4 damage a swing. Death Guard will probably do something like 3 damage a swing. When you start getting hit with stuff that you're only saving on a 4-up and every failed save is a dead model, then Sanguinary Guard kind of start to become undone pretty quickly. Mortarion as well. Mortarion pretty good at killing Sanguinary Guard. And Mortarion ignores your -1 to hit and -1 to wound as well, which is pretty horrific, because the -1 to hit and wound is very important for keeping them alive in melee, and Mortarion ignores it, and he also lets all the other Death Guard models, like within 6 of him, ignore that as well, which is also kind of horrific. So, running so many Captains can be so absurd. Do you know what? My Angelic Inheritors list that I was looking at, Antonius, had 4 Captains, 4 Captains and Dante. I was honestly thinking of naming the list in the app, "Oh Captain, my Captain," because it kind of felt like that's all I had, was just like shed loads of Captains. A Brutalis Mortals is greater than the Death Company, Feel No Pain. I don't think many, yeah, I mean, I think the Brutalis is better than the Death Company Dreadnought, but I don't think many people run either right now. I don't often see either on the table, or I don't often see either at any of the tournaments I end up going to. I think that's fair to say, right? I play the 6-man squad with a Captain and Fight First and Lag. It's really nice. Most people are scared of them, says Odren. Yeah, I mean, I think most people would be scared of Sanguinary Guard with Fight First and a Captain. But yeah, I mean, Sanguinary Guard do still have that weakness, right? Like, And the weakness really is how good are your 4-up saves. Because you are just T4, so it's not exactly difficult to wound them most of the time. Sometimes the -1 to wound can be very powerful, sometimes the -1 to hit can be very powerful depending on your opponent. But like if you're playing like in a quote-unquote army that's good at killing elite infantry, then the -1 to wound and the -1 to hit suddenly become much less valuable, right? I didn't run 3 separate units of Sangre Guard at the tournament I was at. I ran 2. But I think 3 is definitely viable, and I think it is good to do 3 units of Sangre Guard. I was running a big unit of Blade Guard in an Impulsor with Fight First. If I wasn't running that, yeah, sure, maybe I had a 3rd unit of Sangre Guard. But, yeah, I think it's totally fine to run 3 units of Sangre Guard. I just don't think I would run 3 units of 6. I think I would do 1 6. And then I could do 2 3s, or I think I would just do 3 3s. But I don't think I would do multiple 6s. I think it's just too many eggs in one basket, really, for lack of a better analogy. Is 2 Land Raider Redeemers doable in lag, or is it too many points? It's doable against some armies. It comes very unstuck if you play against Knights or something. Like, Knights have those AP5 Meltaguns. So if you have like a 285 point tank that's not even going to get to roll a save, then suddenly things feel pretty rubbish. Redeemers are somewhat decent. Like, I think you can probably run a Redeemer, but Redeemers got their points put up at some point. I can't remember exactly when it was. They had their points were like 265. Since they went up to like 285, seeing Redeemers they sort of fell out of the meta quite considerably, and very few people, I feel like a lot of people just stopped running them when they went up to 285 points. Do Blade Guard need a transport? I think they're better with the transport for sure. Do they quote-unquote need it? Maybe not, but the transports can do other things, right? Impulsors are a great transport for Blood Angels, right? Like, my tournament list had 2 Impulsors in it. I think even though I'm going to probably move to Angelic Inheritors, I'm probably still going to run an Impulsor. Maybe 1. I could even get on board running 2 Impulsors and Angelic Inheritors. I just think Impulsors are that good. The way to look at an Impulsor is it's Toughness 9, 11 wounds, 5 up Invan, and it costs 10 points more than a scout squad. So, like, it's going to have a better save than the scouts, it's much harder to wound than the scouts, and it can do, you know, Impulsors will do actions for you. Like, my Impulsors are always, like, recovering data and engaging on all fronts and holding objectives and sabotaging buildings. Sabotage you need to survive. Much easier to survive on a toughness 9 tank for a whole turn that the opponent doesn't really want to have to deal with than a unit of scouts that are sabotaging or something. So I think usually Impulsors have, after they've deployed their cargo, which usually happens by like turn 2 or something, then I actually think they're very useful to have on the tabletop. And you know, like, they can actually just sit on an objective as well, because it's obviously a lot harder for opponents to remove an Impulsor with range firepower than it is to remove a unit of toughness 4 Marines, right? So I'm a big fan of Impulsors. Six Sangre Guard take up too much table space? I don't know if I feel like they take up too much table space. I was playing 10 Sangre Guard with Dante in the summer, man, when I won the GT, and like, I feel like 10 on 32 probably takes up just as much space as 6 on 40. If you put them in 2 rows, 6 on 40 would be 1200 by 800. If you put 10 on 32 in 2 rows, you'd be like 16, so that would be, what did I say, 1200 against 1600, so you'd be another 25% more. And then yeah, maybe you're a little bit thinner, 232s versus 240s, but yeah, you know, 10 Sangre Guard with Dante take up just as much space as 6, and like Wana GT with 10 in the summer. I mean, the advantage of having 10 Sangre Guard in the summer was like, I had 10 Infernal Pistols, and I also had 50 attacks on the Sangre Guard. So I mean, that's like the ace in the hole, right? If Sangre Guard have 10 Infernal Pistols, which is what they had when I was playing them in the summer, that meant with 50 attacks, they were usually going to kill whatever the fuck they wanted to kill when they came down in Rapid Ingress. I don't know if I felt like they took up too much space. Yeah, sure, they took up a bit of space because it's 11 guys, but I don't know if it was the... what would you suggest to get through Abaddon? I mean, you're going to have to shoot him with something first, and then charge him with probably like Dante plus 3 Sangre Guard, right? Like, I don't know how else you're going to deal with him. Grenades? I just played Inheritors today against CSM and got creamed, says Dan. So what creamed you? What was the problem, Dan? I only have one game of Inheritors under my belt, but I do have a big video coming out about Inheritors on Friday, because I looked at Jack's like 3rd place LVO finish. I watched some of his games, I talked to him, and then I figured out all the nuances that he was using to make Inheritors strong. So I have a big video coming out about Inheritors on Friday. So, I mean, maybe that will help you a little bit as well. Jeff says, I know you did a video on this. I'm building 10 Death Company Marines with jump packs. What pistols? With the power fists. And any idea? And any other got to have loadouts? I mean, you want as many special weapons as you can, Jeff. So I think it's 3 power fists per 10 and 2 eviscerators per 10. And in general in 40k, when you've got a unit that has different loadouts, as in like one guy's got a chainsword and one guy's got a power fist, you typically want the cheapest models to die first, or the units with the worst weaponry to die first. So put all your special pistols on the units that have special melee weapons, and the idea behind that is that you will kill all the units that just have bog standard bolter and chainswords first. So when damage comes in against you, you will put the damage onto the units that are the weakest or the least worthy, or you feel is the least valuable to you. And that's kind of a general rule of thumb anyway, right? Like if you've got 2 guys and one's got like a power fist and one's got a chainsword, you probably kill the guy with the chainsword first. So in any unit that you're building, if it's got multiple loadouts within the squad, or like, you know, there's one guy in the squad that can take a plasma pistol and there's one guy that can't, you're probably going to always kill the guy that's cheapest or has the worst weapons first. So when you're building a squad, if you can make sure that there's definitely some models in the squad where you're like, this guy just has the bog standard default weapon options, so when the squad starts dying, they will be the first ones to die. Does that make sense? Because you choose which model dies, right? So you choose the one with the worst weaponry. I'm trying to figure out if it's worth Mephiston into Inheritors. I think Mephiston's a lot better in Inheritors than he is in Liberator Assault Group, for sure. How do I feel about 5 Sternguard with a Captain, an Apothecary, and an Impulsor? I think Sternguard are cool. I think the Captain with them is cool. I don't know if I rate the Apothecary. What's the Apothecary doing? Let you bring in back 1 Sternguard a turn? And, yeah, that's about it, right? He's letting you revive a model a turn? I don't think the Apothecary is worth that many points. I would rather have, like, another unit. You know, like, he's almost got to resurrect a guy every single turn for the whole battle to get 100 points. He probably costs, like, damn near 100 points. So what's the point of the Apothecary? Like, what's making the Apothecary good? Hello, Panan, how you doing? Excuse me. Talking to you guys constantly for like 2 hours sometimes gives me a hell of a dry throat. Odin says, just play demons, my Sangre Guard bounce hard off them, all the invulnerables and feel no pain. And you can make you -1 to hit. Yeah, I mean, that's what happened to me at a tournament, man. I played against a demon army and they made a crap load of their, whatever you call them, 4-up invuns. When that happens, there's not too much you can do about it, right? It's like, oh, he just made all of his invuns. That's bad news for me. Like I said, there's not all that much you can do about that. It's just a bad day, I guess. In the Sangre Guard, you put the Infernal Pistol and the banner in the same model. I do, yeah, because he's the last one to die. Rapid Ingress makes all the difference for running a big Sangre Guard unit. Yeah, I mean, if I'm running 6 Sangre Guard, I don't start them on the board. If I'm running 10 Death Company, I don't start them on the board. Someone was complaining that they had big footprints. They do have big footprints, and you've got to hide them, right? Like, those units are not durable if they're shot. So ideally, you just don't want to let them be shot, so you Rapid Ingress them, and you just place them down as soon as humanly possible, so usually turn 2. And then you just jump them forward, hopefully to an obscuring position, and then you just make some charges, right? Hello, Witness Me, how you doing? A unit cannot take 2 melee weapons in that Death Company squad, Jeff. So if a unit has an Eviscerator, then it can't have a Power Fist. But that's kind of a general rule of thumb in 40k as well. It's usually like, if they can take an upgrade, it'll be 1 melee weapon and it'll be 1 ranged weapon, right? Cotton says, was listening to some thoughts talking about using 10 intercessors with Inquisitor Draxus for a reactive move and 18-inch loan up for the squad, sticking home, and then killing off chaff and using his move blockers. I mean, it's not so bad. Regular intercessors aren't that cheap, so like Draxus is like 95 points, a unit of 10 intercessors is like 160, so you're like 255 points for that. 255 points for what? How many bolter shots would that be? I mean, there's a lot of bolter fire, sure. 40 bolter shots? I mean, it's not a horrible idea, but I don't know if I'm spending 250 points to sticky objective and shoot some bolters. I mean, you're probably still going to need infiltrators, right? If you don't have infiltrators, they'll just drop down within 6 and take your home field objective away from you. I mean, that's kind of my whole thing with, like, why I guess I don't really run intercessor. It's why I don't run really any battle line, I suppose. It's like, beyond the couple of maps that have bonuses for battle line, I feel like I still need infiltrators. You put a lieutenant with the intercessors for lethal hits? I mean, sure, but it's still like 255 points for intercessors? Does it really feel good enough? Toughness 4 intercessors with a bolter for 255 points? I don't know. I mean, I feel like 3 Sanguinor Guard that make a charge into the intercessors are going to pretty much lift up all of it. I was going to say 3 Sanguinor Guard if you've got Oath of Moment on them. How many of those intercessors do they kill? Like 7 or 8 or something? Yeah, I mean, I guess the lone op thing is quirky, but you can do that anyway in the Inheritors detachment. Any advice on facing a tanky armor like Chaos Knights? Yeah, so I played Chaos Knights at a tournament in the summer, and they are a really, really difficult matchup for Blood Angels because, you know, like if we go back to the summer, everybody was running like 3 units of Jump Intercessors, and Jump Intercessors are only strength 6. So, Chaos Knights are kind of like difficult to deal with, just because they're high toughness. And Knights can be a bit like a stat check army, because the thing about Chaos Knights is they'll make you feel a bunch of battle shocks, and then you won't hold objectives, and then you won't be able to score, and then you won't be able to do the damage to the Knights. Yeah, it's a tough one. If they've got lots of armigers, you've got to be basically killing 3 armigers a turn. If you can't kill 3 armigers a turn, you've got real big problems, because they'll just overwhelm you over time. And like I said, chainswords are really not good at killing armigers. So like when I played them in the summer, I was like, I knew going into the matchup, I was like, oh my god, I know Chaos Knights are going to be a problem for me. My list in the summer, by the way, had like 80 chainswords in it. It was like, I had a crap load of chainswords. I had like 2 little squads of 5-man Death Company and the Sanguinor Guard, and then just crap loads of chainswords. And I was like, I know my chainswords are really unoptimal in this matchup. But I mean, I guess just good positioning and a little bit of luck, and maybe I did roll some good saves in that. I mean, they are beatable, but yeah, you really have to be focused. And you know, that matchup in the summer, I actually killed a knight with a unit of scouts, and I think it was like the knight had like 3 or 4 wounds left, and statistically the scouts were just like, they were doing like you only live once. This charge reeks of desperation, and the scouts like charged in and killed a knight. And like that was, you know, that was turn 1 or something, and that was night number 3, so I would have only killed 2 knights, but I sacrificed a unit of scout, or I thought I sacrificed them, but no, they charged on in and they killed them, and then it was like, oh my god, I actually did kill 3 knights in turn 1. I have a chance of winning this game. But yeah, you gotta, if you're fighting against armiger spam, it's tough, because I wouldn't say Blood Angels are super optimized to deal with that. And then the thing about armigers is the meltaguns on them as well have horrendous AP. I think it's AP 5 if you're not. I think the rule is if you're not close to another friendly unit, they get an extra point of AP, and they're already AP 4. So like if they're shooting like a Vindicator tank, it's just like, oh, you're 2-up save Vindicator, you don't even get to roll a save. It's AP 5, you know, and it's just like, oh my god. So yeah, Chaos Knights are a tough one, man. I don't know if I have a one size fits all, this is how you beat Chaos Knights. The general strategies are hide from their shooting, like hide from their melee, they're so friggin' fast, and do as much damage as physically possible when you can. I mean, you can beat them, it's just not easy. And I'm sure I've lost games against Chaos Knights, and I've won games against Chaos Knights. Lethal hits, lance, and the grenade strat are your best friends against high toughness. Yeah, and a Vindicator, Demolisher cannons are pretty good strength against high toughness as well. And you beat them by scoring more points. Yeah, that's exactly it. Guerrilla warfare, there you go. Abaddon stormed up the board and he kept resurrecting Chosen. Yeah, I mean, that's something that can happen sometimes when you have like a special character that you just end up not dropping and he lives 1 or 2 extra turns, and every turn he's just doing something that's annoying or killing 1 extra unit. The thing about a unit like Abaddon is sometimes you'll be amazing and then other games you'll do nothing, right? I think I've maybe only fought Abaddon like a handful of times this edition. And I feel like I've definitely had games where Abaddon was just like, oh my god, Abaddon just doesn't die and he just kills everything. And then I've had other games where I've just killed Abaddon in 1 round of combat and been like, yeah, okay, we're good. Any idea how to crack 2 rhinos in the enemy's deployment zone at the start of the game without risking anything? I mean, that's kind of why I take stuff like Ballistus Dreadnoughts. I mean, not many people are huge fans of Ballistus Dreadnoughts, but if you're just looking for some long-range fire support that you're going to get to reroll to hit in turn 1 as well without using Oath of Moment, because Ballistus Dreadnoughts just do reroll to hit if you're above half strength. I mean, I've heard a rumour that a Ballistus Dreadnought can kill a Gladiator tank in turn 1. Apparently, I think it was Tony or Mark or someone was talking, or maybe it was the Discord, someone was saying that like turn 1, their Ballistus Dreadnought just lifted up the enemy Gladiator Lancer like 40 odd inches away. And I thought it was a bit of a tall tale. I was like, I don't think Ballistus Dreadnoughts are that good. I mean, they're useful for long range firepower, but they're never going to kill a Gladiator tank in turn 1. At 48 inches away. And then I played against Orcs at the tournament I was just at. Bollocks, just dropped that model while there's wet paint on him. Nice. And the Orc player rolled a battle wagon. If you're not too familiar with a battle wagon, it's like toughness 12, 16 wounds. It's got armor of contempt built in by default. So he moved a 16 wound, toughness 12, 3 up with armor of contempt unit onto an objective, like 40 inches away. And the Ballistus Dreadnought, that was the only thing it could see. And it just blew up straight away. I hit it with both crack missiles. I think I wounded it with both crack missiles, like double 5 I think I needed to wound. He failed both the saves. I rolled 12 damage. And then the las cannon did the final 4 damage. So it was like I just blew up a friggin' 180 point Orc transport, which is typically very durable. I was basically expecting to have to fire all of my tanks and possibly grenade it and possibly charge it to blow up this transport. And the Ballistus Dreadnought just blew it up at 48 inches away. So I wouldn't say Ballistus Dreadnoughts are going to be super great at blowing up rhinos in the opponent's deployment zone, but like if you're trying to do that, the units that will do that are Ballistus Dreadnoughts, Predator tanks, Gladiator Lancers. I don't think Vindicator tanks are going to be the... I mean, they don't have the range, per se, for turn 1 firepower or turn 1 offensive. So while people do like Vindicator tanks, they're not a turn 1 weapon, I would say. You really would have to overcommit them very far forward in turn 1, and I don't like to overcommit my Vindicator tanks turn 1 because they'll just get killed, right? Opponent usually uses rhinos at the start with smoke popping and hidden behind terrain. And then those rhinos spew out Chosen. Yeah, it's the same as the Death Guard. Transports are very good, man. I mean, that's why I'm running double Impulsor in my Liberator Assault Group list, because it protects the 2 units that are inside those repulsors exceedingly well. Like, my opponents cannot do any damage to my 2 big melee units that are inside those Impulsors until they've wasted a whole turn and or 2 killing Impulsors. And I'll do the same. I for sure will hide them behind terrain. If I do have to make a save, it will be on their run. You know, transports... I mean, the other option is you got to play really far back from the transport, so when he disembarks that you're far enough away he can't charge you and he's got to move them up. But yeah, I mean, that can be difficult as well, because you put yourself in like a negative deficit in terms of scoring, right? But yeah, no, there's something to be said about like transports are very useful, can be very useful. Bring a Ball Predator. Park up and then Overwatch. Yeah, I mean, one of the best Blood Angels lists at the World Team Championships had 2 Ball Predators, right? Nothing wrong with having some Ball Predators. They're good. What do I want? Chaos? No, Dawnstone. Excuse me. You beat Chaos Knights by eating their armigers when your opponent isn't looking. Yeah, I mean, if you can eat plastic, then cool. Yeah, that will help. Outriders and Chaplain. 3 dudes or 6 dudes? I think 3 sellers because I think 6 Outriders are probably hard to maneuver. 3 can be pretty tricky to maneuver if you've not played them a lot, just because they have to go round terrain rather than through it like jump intercessors. So I think if I'm going to be trying Chaplain plus 3 Outriders in the very near future, possibly next Wednesday night. Honestly, do you think Ball Predators will get removed next edition? I think any Firstborn tank is a risky proposition. I saw Cotton is saying, should I buy 2 Vindicator tanks or 2 Lancers? Right now, I personally prefer Vindicator tanks to Lancers. However, I have bought 2 Lancers because I am worried that Vindicators will get Legends. So personally, I prefer the Vindicators. I've been playing the Vindicators, but I have bought 2 Lancers because I think I think there's anything that's Firstborn is honestly dangerous at this point, because they Legends a crap load of Firstborn this edition, like an absolute crap load of it. And if you feel like the only way that more Firstborn stuff is not, you ever seen that? Was it like Super Bad when he put his fingers in his ears and he was like, blah, blah, blah. I think that's the only way that you will see Firstborn not going Legends, is if you close your eyes, put your fingers in your ears, like see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. That's literally the only way that more Firstborn shit won't be Legends. It's happening. It's just a case of when. So like, I've said, I must have said it 1,000 times. I wish they would just tell us when the stuff is Legendsing. Because then it would be, then when people would ask me, I would know to tell them, yes, sure, you can buy a Vindicator tank if you don't mind it being Legends in 2026, for example. But right now, nobody knows. And I just think it's risky. And here's the other thing here's the thing that maybe annoys me the most about it, right? I'm pretty informed in 40k. You guys that watch me and stuff are probably pretty informed. Some of you guys read Reddit, some of you guys are in the Discord, some of you guys follow Warhammer community. You guys are probably pretty informed as well. There is a lot of people who are not informed, right? Like I just, you know, for example, I'm into 40k, but just imagine that, like, you know, when I was a bit younger, my parents didn't know anything about 40k. So I'm like the little schoolboy that wants to go into the shop and wants to get a model, and I see a Vindicator tank on the shelf and I think, cool, the Vindicator tank. I've seen my friends play those Vindicator tanks, they're pretty strong. And I mean, they'll sell the stuff up until 1 minute before it gets Legends, right? So I can literally go in and buy my Vindicator tank, be super excited, get it home. If I'm not informed, I could paint it, and by the time I get back to the store a week later to play it, it could be Legends, right? And I just, you know, like, as somebody who's in sort of the space, I guess, to me, that just feels like a real, you know, like, if that happens to you, like, how can you not be angry? I mean, I don't know, man. I wish that we would come out and just tell us what's getting Legends and what's not getting Legends, because that shit happens. That 100% happens. You know, like, I think we saw it with the Blood Angels release. Like, someone had just bought, like, 2 Death Company Dreadnoughts, like, a week before the Legends, the Death Company Dreadnought. So it's like, someone's on the forum, like Reddit, posting for, like, maybe their first time, like, their first experience with Warhammer. They're like, you know, oh, cool, I just got these 2 Death Company Dreadnoughts, but I can't find the rules in my app. Yeah, no shit, you can't find the rules, because we just got them Legends, like, last week. Oh, you bought them on Sunday? Well, tough shit. They got Legends on Monday. Like, that genuinely happened. Like, that was a post on Reddit, this edition. And I just don't know why Games Workshop... That's what they do, I guess. I hate it. But that's it. That's what happens. So yeah, I mean, I stopped buying Firstborn stuff pretty much at the start of 10th edition. I have 2 Vindicator tanks. I possibly would have bought a 3rd if I'd been given a date, right? Like, if they just said, like, Vindicator tanks are good until 12th edition, I'd have been like, cool, I'll buy a Vindicator tank. I'm gonna get to use it for 6 years, I'm cool with that. But they don't give any dates. I could rant on this all the time, so if you've seen me rant on it, I feel like I'm gonna rant on it until they fix it. Because you're trying to bring new people in, but somebody somewhere is getting screwed. And if one person is getting screwed, that's enough people where I don't like it. We need a real replacement for Devastator squads. You mean Desolation Marines? They're pretty good. They're just way overcosted still, I guess. Halo, evening people. What do you think of Ultramarines at the moment after the data slate, and how would you deal with the Double Oath and other abilities from Ugriel and Calgar? Well, here's the thing. Ultramarines are kind of weaker if you compare them to Blood Angels. So what you could just do is just use the Sanguinor to kill all of them, and then you'll be golden. No, that's actually what happened at LVO. The Sanguinor, like, killed half the Ultramarines army solo. But, no, Ultramarines are a lot better, right? +1 to Oath has made them a lot better. You gotta use, I guess if you're playing Blood Angels against Ultramarines, you want to use your speed against them, right? Ultramarines do not have fast infantry. I mean, they'll have some Dreadnoughts, probably. They'll have Guilliman, probably. Yes, they'll have Calgar and Blade Guard, but, I mean, Calgar and Blade Guard don't get fight first, right? Or do they get fight first? Because if they don't have fight first, then you just engage them when you're happy with a fast-moving unit, I feel like. Here's me sitting with 2 Vindicators in their boxes. Well, I would get them built now, Rab, because it honestly... it feels horrible when your shit gets Legends at the end of an edition. And that's really what put me off buying more Firstborn stuff, because you know, like, money's relative to everybody, I guess. I'd spent £500, which is a lot of money, I feel like. Especially because I've got family and kids and stuff. I'd spent £500, which is a lot of money, on Warhammer stuff right before 10th edition, basically to get ready for 10th edition. I'd spent £500, and out of that £500, 400 of it became Legends. And I was just like, you have, like, of the 3 or 4 units that I chose to do, you know, they all went Legends. And I was just like, it was such a feels bad moment. And also, I mean, I've recovered from it, but at the time as well, it was quite a... It kind of kicked my hobbying streak, because I was on, like, this massive hobbying streak where I was like, I'm finishing units, I'm excited, 10th edition is coming, I'm finishing units, and then it was like, oh, but all the units you just busted your ass and finished are Legends now, and I was just like, oh, okay. You know, like, none of my friends want to play Legends. They literally won't play it, because they're like, well, we just want to play for tournaments, so we don't want to practice with Legends. And also some of the cool moments I had of like putting big Legends models on the table or whatever. I was just like, no, you're not doing that anymore. Even Lieutenant Tolmeron has gone out of production. Firstborn are cooked if we've had a Primaris model discontinued. Kevin, you're, I think you're, I was going to say, I feel like I've ranted for like half an hour at this point on this, but Kevin, you're even more bitter than I am, are you? You're like, Firstborn are cooked! They're fucking dead! You know that bit in Aliens where it was like, they cut the power, man! They're fucking animals! How have they cut the power? That's... That's what it's like. Oh no! Does my wife know what that I spent 500 quid on the commission? Yeah, because she probably heard me moaning about it every night for like 6 months. That I'd like, you know, like I haven't spent 500 quid again since that happened when they Legends all that stuff. And since then I've only done Primaris stuff. I've been scared to do anything else. But no, Ultramarines with +1 to wound and the double oath is very, very strong now. I haven't played against it, but I've seen... So, I don't know if you guys know the Warhammer channel Stat Check. But Stat Check is a small-ish. I guess they're going pretty quickly now. It was smallish. I think they're up to like 4,000 subscribers. Good for those guys. They're a smallish channel that run like stats from the... They're kind of doing the Meta Watch thing that Games Workshop... I don't know what's happened to the Meta Watch stuff. Because Games Workshop were doing like those 3 monthly Meta Watch articles where it was like, oh, you know, these are the armies that are performing well and these are the armies that are performing bad. And then I was looking the other day and I was like, they haven't done a Meta Watch since July last year. So usually when Games Workshop don't want to do something anymore, they usually don't tell you they're not doing it. They just silently stop doing it. So I don't know if they've silently stopped doing the Meta Watch articles, or they've just decided to not do them for a while, or what's really happening with them. But yeah, so I was watching Stat Check the other day, and they said that basic Space Marines, they had a 37% win rate, so that would be like including Ultramarines or including Iron Hands. The win rate before LVO was 37%, and then they got that +1 to Oath ability, or the +1 to wound went against your Oath of Moment target, and then they went to, I think they said it was 49% win rate, so they went up 12% in terms of win rate. So basically, the guys on Stat Check said if you break that down, every single Space Marine player, like every single player that went to a tournament, is winning around 3/4 of a game more. So like if you were a Space Marine player that was going 3-2, now you're pretty close to going 4-1. If you're a Space Marine player that was going 2-3, now you're pretty close. You know, you're just basically close to having an extra win. So, essentially, I guess, quite a big buff, the Oath of Moment change for Space Marines, or Ultramarines specifically, if that's one of the things we're talking about here. So, do you know what? I just realised this lieutenant with the combi weapon has a knife in both hands. I never realised that. Oh, you learn something every day. Hello, Mike! How are you? Sorry for calling you an idiot the other day, Mike. I hope you didn't... You ran off. I was just joking around. I hope it was alright. I know you're not an idiot, Mike. Happened to my Leviathan Dreadnought. Finished it and instantly Legends. Yeah, that's... Yeah. And it's happening to everybody, like, it's not just happening to Space Marines. Like, look at the Eldar release. A lot of new Eldar coming, a lot of old Eldar models. I mean, I guess they're not Legends in the same way, but, you know, the old models are getting defunct. Evening, Phil, how are you? Just got back from 1500 point again. Night Lords, I think you mean Angelic Inheritors, right? Or do you mean Angelic Host, Mike? What's new with you, Phil? How you doing? Kevin says all my Firstborn tanks are 3D printed. Thankfully. can never get back the time that put me into the paint and resin. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I've got a bunch of Firstborn stuff that I think I'm just going to try and shift now, because I don't know if I'm ever going back to it. And I don't play Horus Heresy. I don't think I'm ever going to have time to play Horus Heresy. So I'm quite happy just playing 40k. I've got my second army now. I was actually going to film the unboxing of my second army tonight, but I forgot to take my camera to work, because all the models are like in the room at work where we do the live games, and I wasn't going to take them home because honestly I don't have this. I've been trying to clean up my office at home. I call this my office where I do my Warhammer stuff, and I've already got loads of games. Like this year I've sold like 5 games, 5 board games that I've never played them. I collected a lot more board games like before I had kids. But board games can be like... Board games, yeah, like with board games you can collect them and then you can end up never playing them. So I collected a bunch. I'd never played them. So I was like, if I've never played the board game, I should probably just sell it. So I was trying to do that a little bit. I have to say, huge thanks to this channel and community. My 40k ability and enjoyment has grown so much since being with you guys. Volkar, thank you so much for your kind comments. We're glad to have you, dude. I certainly appreciate it. So hyped for the Plastic Aspect Warriors and the Phoenix Lord. Yeah, I got the new Phoenix Lord, the one that leads the Warp Spiders. I've ordered that. I don't really know too much about Eldar, but I've got that one coming, so that's cool. Monopoly all day? I've not played Monopoly in ages, man. I do actually have a copy of Monopoly in here, though. I also have a copy of Clue. So, like, when my kids are ready to play board games, I'm already set. I've got a couple of the basic ones. I've got Hero Quest as well. Hero Quest was where it started for me. Back in, like, probably the early 90s. Do you remember playing Hero Quest? That was my first experience ever with, like, Citadel miniatures. So, I've got Hero Quest. How do I cut my thumb? I didn't cut it. It's freaking cold in Scotland, and because it's so cold in Scotland, like in here on my fingers, the skin keeps splitting open. I was gonna say, none of my other fingers have. Yeah, like here, look, see this? It's just like, I keep my nails quite short, but my skin keeps splitting open. So it's not really a cut. They'll just, you know, it's just I found that if I don't put a plaster on it, then it'll split again day after day, and it seems to just linger and linger and linger. But I could wear gloves, I suppose, when I'm outside when it's like -degrees. But then my hands get too hot, so I just keep not wearing my gloves. And then my fingers keep splitting open, and it's like a vicious cycle. I think I just need warmer weather. I need it to not be like -degrees and freezing cold on my walk to work. And then my hands will stop splitting. So, it's, you know, it's a weird one. Anyone else gets that? Try moisturizer. Yeah, I do put moisturizer on it, but it just keep splitting open, man. But yeah, I mean, it's just the cold, right? I think over the Christmas holidays, I think both my thumbs, like the thumb on each hand, split open, and then I think it, you know, it closed up itself in a few days, but yeah, it just keeps happening. It's annoying. I never got to play Hero Quest, unfortunately, but I used to play a lot of D&D with my dad. I mean, Hero Quest is just D&D light, man. D&D might be more engaging than Hero Quest, to be honest. It's a major bummer not to have a character that gives CP. Yeah, I know. I don't know why they didn't give that to Commander Dante. I would have much rather got 1 CP per battle round than a stupid battle shock thing that only ever seems to activate when you don't actually need it. Tron says that use the Audible link to pick up Dante and using the 3rd chapter in. Oh, that's cool, man. Thanks so much for using the referral links. I do appreciate it. Little tip with Audible, Tron, if you've not really used it before, or what they do is, once you get that free trial and you get your first book, at some point near the end of your free month, go into the cancellation thing and click the reason that you're cancelling is because it's too expensive. And if you click that the reason that they're cancelling is too expensive, this doesn't always work, but like I would say that the success rate is like close to 50%. If you click that the reason you're cancelling is because it's too expensive, half the time they will offer you the next 3 months for half price. And when they offer you like 3 months for half price, that means you get like 3 more books for like, I think it's like $3.99 a month. So like $3.99 for, you know, like a 600-page Warhammer novel read by somebody to you, I think it's pretty good value, honestly. So I mean, I think it's okay value at full price at $7.99, but I think at $3.99 it's like almost a steal if you've got commute or if you're enjoying them. So yeah, make sure you click when you go to cancel, it's too expensive. And do you know what, you can do that every single time. So you can wait like 3 months and get another free trial, and then you can cancel again. I have an audio library on Audible, probably of like 50 or 60 books, and I want to say like at least half of them. Cambo's like, I've had that 3 months for 99p a month as well. That's an offer that they'll do as well. I don't know how they're making any money on those Audible books, because I guess if you try hard enough, you can really save a lot of money on Audible. It's great. It's absolutely great. Sellers is like, I've been doing that for years. Yeah, me too. Moved to Spain at 16 degrees here. Yeah, here's the problem. My job's here in Scotland, man. And I feel like I need my job, you know? With Audible, also just subscribe of complete... Yeah, but if you're subscribed right now, dude, if you go into your settings, like even if you have no intention of unsubscribing, if you go into your settings and say, I'm thinking about unsubscribing because it's too expensive, they will offer you like 3 months at half price. Even if you've got no intention of unsubscribing, just go in for a nosy and click, I'm thinking of unsubscribing because it's too expensive. Like, that's an option. How much does it cost them to make an Audible book? Well, I'm sure it cost them more than 99 pence, right? Because that's what you can get it for. Thanks for hanging out, Eternal Crusader. Nice to see you. One problem I've encountered is Uriel Vect's aura. It hurts our CP usage because something like Red Rampage then costs 2 CP and I'm locked into our detachment bonuses rather than our stratagems. Well, I mean, that's where captains are super useful, right? Like getting the stratagems for 1 CP less. Like, that's why I think a couple of squads of Sanguinor with captains and or some other units with captains, company heroes maybe. I think captains are really good for Blood Angels right now, like really, really good. But yeah, I haven't played Ultramarines since they got the additional +1 to wound, but I'm figuring that probably feels very strong, right? At the tournament that I was at, an Ultramarines player was 4-1 with like Gilliman and all that good stuff. I ran without a captain tonight and it felt like I was missing something, says Mike. Yeah, I think 2 captains feels really good in Blood Angels. I think my next list will have at least 2 I think 2 captains just gives you flexibility to do some stuff that you might not normally do, because you're like, oh, there's a captain there and I can do this thing for free, so I will do it. So I think I would definitely recommend, if you don't have any captains in your list, figuring out a way to have a couple of captains. Is 6 Sanguinor Guard plus Dante worth the points and lag? I mean, most of the time, yes. But it can still bounce, and I think that's the tricky thing, is finding a way to not have it bounce. Because if it bounces, it's not like Sanguinor Guard are super durable. I mean, yes, sometimes you can spike some 4-up saves with them, but you can also fail a crap load of 4-up saves, right? So I think Sanguinor Guard can be pretty great, but they can also die very, very fast. Are you still? I saw a picture on your Facebook page the other day, Mike, where you were like painting like 4 gladiator tanks at once. That's got to be commissions, right? Are you? I was gonna say, are you swamped with gladiator tank commissions at the moment? You can't be doing 3 commissions. I was gonna say, you can't be doing 4 gladiator tanks for yourself, right? That's one too many. Jeez, oh. And you accept 3 commissions at once. You're a maniac, Mike. Good for you. I was going to say, it's probably the wife's birthday soon or something. You've got to be doing all the commissions that you can get your hands on, huh? I'm just messing. Did you take the fallback in charge this week in Angelic Inheritors, or did you stick with the advancing rerolls? I was going to say this. I'm going to put some. Do you know what? That's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to put some flesh tone on this guy's face next, just to see what that looks like. Does this guy have any white on? Maybe. Are Sternguard a good option for Blood Angels? I've got some Leviathan ones somewhere. I think they're better than they were, right? With the changes to Oath of Moment. Or with the changes to their ability that lets them reroll all their hits and wounds in Oath of Moment. I don't know if I, like, will go out on a limb and be like, oh yeah, Sternguard are amazing. But I mean, I think the devastating wounds they can do is decent. I think if you attach a captain to them, put them inside an impulsor, I think they're also pretty decent. I don't know if like I said, I don't know if I necessarily feel like they're amazing. But I think a few people have started to try them. I think possibly before this balance update, not many people were playing them at all, right? I haven't run them yet. I mean, I could run some Sternguard. But no, I haven't really tried them myself yet. evening, Peter. How you doing? Finally got some time to do Death Company Dreadnought with Archie's Forge upgrade. It looks fantastic. Yeah, I hope the Death Company Dreadnought gets some better rules, man. I think the Death Company datasheets in Blood Angels Codex were, I want to say, like, significantly underwhelming. It's funny, it's like all the Death Company datasheets were pretty average, and the Death Company detachment was pretty average. So what we've got right now is a situation where, like, not many people are playing Death Company. So it's kind of gone full circle where everybody was playing Death Company and now nobody's playing Death Company, huh? Hopefully it gets an actual model. Yeah, I never even thought of that, Antonius. Yeah, like, a real model would have been nice as well, rather than just a... I mean, the upgrade sprue was kind of a joke, wasn't it? If you could even call it that. It's like a skull and crossbones for it. I don't know if I even call it an upgrade. Like, is it enough to even call it an upgrade? Yeah, Death Company are not in the strongest position right now, that is for sure. I've just pivoted away from them. I already was kind of on board with like running a lot of Blade Guard, so I think going forward I'm going to be trying Blade Guard, Terminators, the 3 units of 3 Sanguinor Guard. Probably going to try some Outriders, just because I think Outriders with the Chaplain could actually be pretty cool. Especially with the ability to give them Lone Operative. Or the sort of 18-inch Lone Operative thing that you can do in Angelic Inheritors. You can do that on a Chaplain on a bike, right? It's not jump pack unit only, it's just infantry only, right? Yeah, because Jack was doing it on Devastators. So yeah, if you can do it in Devastators, you can do it... Oh, Outriders aren't infantry. Is it infantry or is it character? It's character unit, so it's good. So yeah, if the Chaplain joins Outriders, you're good. Because the thing I thought about Outriders is they are strength 5 on the charge, and they are +1 to wound because the Chaplain's leading them. So you've got +1 to wound, reroll hits of 1, reroll wounds of 1, potential stealth as well for untargetable from 18 inches. I could actually, like, I feel like that's worth giving it a whirl, right? I still can't get over how bad our new units look compared to everybody else. Do you know what, Kevin? That's a sentiment that I've seen a few times now, like over on the Blood Angels Reddit or just in the forums. And it is interesting, right? Like, because it's like, you know, those new Emperor's Children models or the new Primarch and stuff look super awesome. And it's like, well, here's a good example. This is a Sanguinor Guard that I'm painting right now, and I've had to convert the crap out of it with 3D printed parts, and it's like, I don't necessarily dislike that I've had to use 3D parts. Like, I've always kind of, like, if Games Workshop doesn't have the piece I want, I would have done that myself anyway. But it does make me a little bit sad that, like, I had no option, right? It was just like, oh, right, Sanguinor Guard don't have wings? Well, you know, my ones have had wings for 20 years, so I'm still going to have wings. But they're not even selling the option to have wings. So I don't know. I sort of get what you're saying, and I've definitely seen people saying the same sort of sentiment, that, like, why were the Blood Angels releases not super cool like everybody else's new releases? Like, what gives? Like, why did we not get good looking releases? I have used one, like, this guy has that Sanguinor Guard head. I don't think it's the worst head in the world, but I don't really like it either, I guess. It's like, okay. Heavy intercessors with the biologist and the lone operating inch strat is pretty fun. I mean, I guess the 18-inch strat is pretty useful for lots of units, right? I think Angelic Inheritors is overrated. What part of it do you think is overrated, Espana?
I have awoken.
Hey, Hellchild, thanks so much for subscribing. I appreciate it. You did caveat by saying that Jack's just such a good player that he can carry. There is something to be said about, like, the best players will always find ways to win. That is a thing that does happen. I'm glad you like the new Sanguinor Guard wings. I'll probably make some of my new models using the new wings, I guess. I was thinking what I'd do is I'd use these big wings as like the sergeants. So I was going to build a couple. Well, I bought the Combat Patrol, so I guess I've got 6 of these. So I was going to build a couple with like the big wings as potential sergeants, and then I was going to build a couple with the new wings, and it gives me a bit of contrast between the old and the new, right? I'm going to use all the Sandguard backpacks I didn't use on other characters. They don't look bad, they just don't look Sandguard. Yeah, I mean, I guess that would make sense to use some of them on the other characters as well. Probably make a pretty cool captain using those wings, or... well, what... I guess it depends if at some point we get a Primaris Chaplain as well that can fly, because at the moment we just have the Chaplain, right? Who is still a Firstborn model, but I imagine at some point there'll be a Primaris Chaplain with a jump pack, I would hope. Hopefully they don't just Legends the Chaplain with a jump pack and we've got no Primaris version. But no, that's an interesting point as well. Lag is Sons of Sanguinius plus Gladius. Assault Intercessors just reroll 1s. Rerolls of 1 to me as a variable is inferior to a constant. Well, you need to watch the video I've got coming out on Friday, because if you compare Dante in Liberator Assault Group to Dante in Angelic Inheritors, I think for the most part, Dante with Angelic Inheritors will do more damage than he does in Liberator Assault Group, right? And then take the Sanguinor, he'll do more damage in Angelic Inheritors. Take Mephiston, he'll do more damage in Angelic Inheritors. If you actually start breaking it down, model by model, and you do all the math, you actually start to get to a pretty interesting point where it's like, okay, so Liberator Assault Group is better sometimes, but Angelic Inheritors is better in a lot of situations as well. And arguably Angelic Inheritors is also more reliable because like, if you do not make a charge, you don't lose as much as you do with lag, right? Like, if you're not charging in lag, you're like, I was gonna say, I guess you're not in a great situation if you're not charging in lag generally. What white am I using? Yeah, Vallejo, model color white. I hate the Games Workshop white. I feel like it's got terrible coverage. I feel like you got to do like 3 coats of it to cover over. You know, like, this will still need 2 coats. I am painting white over the top of gold, So probably still going to need 2 coats, but I feel like it's just got much better coverage than the GW one. I did play 2 games with Angelic Inheritors, and lag just felt better to me. Well, I suppose the difference is, Felix, that lag makes every unit strong, right? Like, jump intercessors with no leader, strong. Outriders with no leader, strong. Any unit that makes a charge with a chainsword or whatever, strong. But Angelic Inheritors makes all those character units much, much better. So I think the list needs to switch a bit, right? Like, if you're going to do Angelic Inheritors, I think you need to start considering, I need more units that are attached to characters. Just as an overall, like, general bottom line, this will make my list better. Sort of. Yeah, like, I guess you just really need to think of, like, you know, if I'm playing Liberator Assault Group, I probably have like 4 characters. Let's say, like, I've got Dante, I've got a Chaplain. I'm trying to think what else I run in my list. I've got a Captain. I've got 2, that was it. Dante, 2 Captains, and a Chaplain. That's what I'm running in Liberator Assault Group. I think if I'm running Angelic Inheritors, I think I've got double that many characters. And there's a bit of a style shift there in that, like, I have less disposable units, but every unit that I have that's attached to a character could potentially do a lot more damage. And also, all those units don't really care quite as much about me charging. So if I am getting charged, my units are just much, much stronger when I'm getting charged. So I mean, I think there is advantages to it. I mean, it can't be bad if it got to 3rd place in LVO, but I don't think you can probably just take your lag list and be like, this is my lag list, it's now an Angelic Inheritors list and it will just do exactly the same. No, I think you've got to redo the list a little bit, and you just got to be wary that, like, for example, I don't think jump intercessors are all that great in Angelic Inheritors. I think they're great in lag, I just don't think they really work in Angelic Inheritors. Maybe if they're attached to a Chaplain, I feel like they're a bit better. But I mean, I don't think many people are taking 5 jump intercessors attached to Chaplain, right? Like, that's not like a super common option or super common pick. The Feel No Pain from Mortals is definitely handy to have from lag. Yeah, how often does that come up? Have I built the Sanguinor yet? Yeah, I built him. I built him at the start of the stream, Harold. He needs to get sprayed this weekend, I guess. I changed his head out. I didn't like the head that he came with. That's the only change. But I wanted to get 3 colours in all these guys so that they could, like, be in a battle report and I don't feel shit about fielding them. So this guy's got grey, blue, red and gold. That's 4 colours. This guy's got white, gold, so he's got 4 colours. This guy has arguably only 3, so we should probably put another colour on him just now. And this guy has 1, 2, 3. So technically he's the lowest, I was going to say it's like the lowest common denominator battle ready you've ever seen, but he is battle ready. So if you love HQs, then yeah, Angelic Inheritors should be good for you. I just signed up for my first RTT in February and my first GT in March. I have so much painting to do. Well, I was going to say, don't be one of these people that's trying to paint 1,000 points the night before the event, because if you're up till 3 AM painting the night before the event, I don't feel like you can expect to do well in the event. And I have a lot of friends that end up doing that. They're like, oh, I've signed up to this tournament, but I have hardly done any of the painting for it. So I wouldn't try and finish units. I would do what I'm doing here, which is like, get everything based, get 3 colours on them, so that they are quote-unquote battle ready, and then if you've got time, then you can go back and start finishing units. I would get units battle ready as soon as possible, because I would rather have a good night's sleep the night before an event and be battle ready than be like, oh my god, I've got to finish these 6 guys tonight or I'm going to lose 10 victory points. And if you've got to finish 6 guys the night before the event and you're going to be up to 3 AM, you're probably honestly just better going to sleep and taking the 10-point loss, because you'll probably make more mistakes if you've been up till 3 AM, and it'll probably cost you more than 10 points. But I have friends that do it literally for every single tournament. The night before the tournament, they're painting till God knows what time in the morning. And I think it's so dumb. But that's just me. I'm allowed to have my opinion. My opinion is also allowed to be wrong. If you can stay up till 3 AM, get up at 7, jump in the shower, neck 2 cans of Monster or whatever energy drink that you like to drink, and then go to a tournament and perform your absolute best for the entire day, and not crash and not feel tired, and be happy, then you do you. But that's just my that's my advice. I feel like there's not so much variation in what a good Angelic Inheritors list looks like. I think we just haven't scratched the surface with it yet, honestly, dude. Like, so Jack has taken a really good list to LVO and has come 3rd with it. I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to run half the stuff that Jack runs in his Angelic Inheritors list. Like, Jack's running Las Cannon Devastators, no thanks. He's running Intercessors, no thanks. I'll run Outriders, because I love Outriders. I'll run Blade Guard, because I love Blade Guard. I think that both those things can still perform well in that detachment. And I suppose we'll see, you know, how other people get on. Because now that he's opened the door and showed us that it can do well, other people will innovate. I think it's just early days for the detachment. I think there'll be another really strong list that comes out of this detachment, 100%. Most people miss the shower. Well, yeah, if you've been up till 3 AM, you might not prioritise a shower. But you really should prioritise a shower if you're going to a Warhammer event, to stand in a sweaty, usually hot venue for the entire day, right? Shower should probably be fairly high priority. VT says I crash even if I get a good night's sleep. Yeah, I always make mistakes in the 2nd or 3rd game of the day, even if I've had a good night's sleep. So, I don't know what the hell I would be doing. I'd be losing my first game if I was up till 3 AM trying to paint models the night before the event, I swear. But some people do it every single damn event. Sleep is a myth? No. Good sleep is a myth, maybe. But good for you signing up for your first events. You'll have fun. Go to your first events with the intention of learning and having fun. It took me like 7 years to win a GT. So if it took me 7 years, then don't get disheartened if the first events are a little bit rough. If you feel like you're learning stuff, if you feel like you're not super competitive. What do you think about a Land Raider for fire support? I mean, I think a Land Raider's fine. 2-up save, toughness 12. Sometimes it can be very powerful. If you spike saves, if you Armor of Contempt, if you smoke screen it at the right time in certain armies, it can be very good. I don't necessarily dislike Land Raiders. I just moved away from them personally, but yeah, I mean, a Land Raider is fine for Blood Angels. If you're going to take something like something super slow like Centurions, then Land Raider is generally really good. You can even put Dante plus a 6 Angry Guard inside a Land Raider, I think. Right? The capacity of 14, I think? Or is it the Redeemer that's got the 14? Oh, maybe you can't fit all 6 Angry Guard inside a Land Raider. Maybe that's a Repulsor. I cannot play unless the army is at parade standard. Dude, I don't have that luxury, man. I would sort of agree with you when I didn't have kids. Since I've had kids, my armies... You know when you go to an event and everyone's laying out their armies for the best painting stuff, I haven't been able to lay out my army for best painted for like pretty much since before. The last time I did that was when I only had one kid. Since I've had 2 kids, I've never laid out my army for best painted. I'm just like, yeah, my stuff's not finished. I'm not even trying. I'm not gonna win best painted. I'm not wasting my time. I'm not wasting my time laying them out for best painted. I got 2 kids under the age of 5. I mean, if we go back 2 years, then it would have been 2 kids under the age of 3. That's mental. 2 kids under the age of 5 still sounds like a lot of work, and it is, honestly. Redeemer is 14. Right, so the regular Land Raider doesn't quite fit Dante, okay. But yeah, no, I mean, a regular Land Raider's fine. Blade Guard are good in a Land Raider. Centurions are good in a Land Raider. Aggressors are probably okay in a Land Raider. They're just not as the Land Raiders were really popular 6 months ago. They're just not super popular right now. But I don't think they're necessarily bad. They're just, the meta comes and goes. They're massive bullet magnets. Yeah, I mean they are. They are. That's probably, you know, if the meta has a lot of guns in it, then Land Raiders are indeed bullet magnets. And while generally toughness 12 bullet magnets is a good thing to have, the lack of invulnerable save sometimes does hurt them. I feel like I would not endure a Warhammer events. 3 games in a row in a day, I would fall down. Well, usually by like game 3, some people do actually sit down, because most of the time at tournaments there's seats laid out. Like, you know, you're just playing on like essentially what is like a dining room table or an event table. And usually by game, like most people stand the first couple of games, and usually by game 3, and then maybe even more so on day 2, some people will sit down. I don't really like to sit down when I'm playing. And I guess if you don't do exercises for your back, like if you don't go to the gym and stuff, you will probably end up with a sore back. And if you aren't super fit, you'll probably end up with sore legs as well. But I mean, I was going to say, once you've gone to a few events, you'll know what to expect, and maybe you can, if you've got lower back problems, you can do some back strengthening exercises. Or one thing I always try and do when I'm playing is to remember to rotate my shoulders back, so you're not like hunched forward. That doesn't help. So when it's not my turn, I'll try and always like stand fully up straight and rotate my shoulder blades back, so I'm not like hunching up my back for 3 days straight or 2 days straight or however long you're at the events, you know. Came second place in my first event. Being a small RTT, haven't sniffed that level of success since but it was a funny beginner's luck story. Well, good for you, man. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like I said, it took me 7 years to win a GT. When I won the GT, I feel like the dice gods were on my side, because in that final game, and the final game, I had to do like 14 4-up saves on Dante in a row. I passed all of them, and it was like I mean the final game was a fucking draw. So I think if I'd failed one of like 14 saves, and when I say 14 saves, it wasn't like one unit hit Dante 14 times and he'd take 14 saves. It was more like, this unit's attacked Dante, he's got to take 6 saves. I've passed them all. This unit's attacked Dante, he's got to take 4 saves. I've passed them all. This unit's attacked Dante, take another 6 saves. Oh, I've passed them all. And then my opponent was just like, alright John, apparently you're destined to win this game. And it was a draw. And the only reason I won the game, or the only reason I won the tournament, was because it was, I had more battle points from the other games throughout the day. Or the 2 days, right? And it was only like, it wasn't much. I think it was 2 battle points, or maybe it was 12 battle points, but it really, I can't remember. It wasn't like, yeah, I think 12's ringing a bell, but it was like literally 1 or 2 secondaries throughout the entire event. That's why I won the event. And passing for it. So like, it is, you know, Warhammer is a dice game essentially, so sometimes the dice will be with you. Why do I put my palette in squares? I have no idea. People ask that. Apparently, ever since I've been painting in squares. I have no idea. When I mix my paints, I mix them into squares. I'm a creature of habit, what can I tell you? There's no logical reason behind it, it's just I do squares. Alright. I'm going to put one quick colour on this guy. I don't know what colour I'm going to do. Something simple, because I'm tired. And then I'm going to go to bed. Do you know what, we'll just do the axe handles. That'll be nice and quick. Some sort of like dark brown. Or will we do purple handles? Purple handles could be pretty cool. I think I'll just do dark brown because sometimes I give Dante a purple handle and I want him to stand out. When I'm going to use the wet palette, I have no idea. I don't even really know. I was going to say, I think if I actually painted more than once a week, Campbell, I'd use the wet palette. I've got the wet palette, so maybe it's a thing for like. Because I was dreaming about this the other day. I was like, when my kids are older and they can entertain themselves like on a weekend or an evening, and I don't need to put them to bed, and I don't need to brush their teeth, and I don't need to listen out for them when they wake up, and all that good stuff. And I can like, I would love to be able to paint like and hang out like this every single night for a week. I would love to be able to do that because I feel like I'd get so much done. And I feel like I never get a lot of Warhammer done anymore. And it's not that I don't want to get a lot of Warhammer done. Just always friggin' busy and kids and family and commitments and stuff, you know? So it's like I would like to get a lot of Warhammer done. So I was literally fantasizing about being able to do a lot. That's probably weird, but yeah, I mean, I am a bit weird. So I'm just fantasizing about being able to paint every night for a week, and then by all means I'd break out the wet palette and figure out how to work it. I mean, if you hang around with me for like 20 years, I was going to say it's not going to be 20 years, is it? My kid's 3, my youngest kid's 3. So 15 years from now, when he moves out, and it's just me and the wife left, and then I can hang out every single night and I can paint every single night, then I'll break out the wet palette. How about that? I won't paint after tonight till Saturday at the earliest. I just don't know how I feel about using the wet palette like and then not touching it for like 4 days. And then next week, I want to be, like, for example, next week I'll be playing on Wednesday night. So I want paint from Saturday until next Saturday. That's why I don't get anything done. Or that's why I don't feel like I get enough done. Saturday to Saturday is just too damn long, I think. When I made this channel, right, I had one kid that was 3 months old. And if you ever have kids, when they're 3 months old, they don't do anything but sleep. They need like 18 hours a day of sleep. So when I made the channel, I had loads of time. It's like, I got this one kid and she sleeps all the time and I can do whatever they want, you know? So yeah, to make a video every Friday I got to give up something, and I guess what I've got to give up is my painting time. The wife and I are planning for kids soon, enjoying all the fishing and Warhammer I can because I'm going to lose a lot of time for that after, says Kevin. Yeah, but here's the thing, Kevin. And if anyone doesn't have kids then and doesn't want kids, that's fair enough. But if you want kids, then kids are probably one of the best things you'll ever do. They're also one of the most frustrating things you'll ever do. Like tonight after dinner, I swear to you, I had to say to them like, I would be like, guys. And like after like 10 attempts, I'm like, I actually literally had to shout and I was like, guys. And they're like, yeah, Dad. And I was like, right, can you listen to me? Because I had to ask 10 times, you know. It's time for us to go up to bed, guys, you know. It was like, it's great, but at the same time, yeah, they do eat up a lot of your time, and they eat, sleep, and poop. Yeah. Do you know what? My Reavers are painted, though, right? Like, as much as you wind me up, my Reavers are actually painted. Alright, I painted 5 of them, and then kind of never bothered with the other 5. That was a good decision because I don't know when on earth I would ever need to field 10 Reavers, right? But no, I mean, every time I go to a tournament, I always, like, I've never gone to a tournament and been docked points because my stuff isn't painted. It might just be painted to the minimum 3 colours, but, you know, I manage, and I base my stuff, so I manage. It's not at the highest level I would like it to be, but I'll get back there one day, and I also do. Like, I paint every week. I don't let motivation come into it. It's the same as, like, I go to the gym, like, every week as well, and if I'm not feeling motivated for the gym, I don't let that affect whether I'm going to the gym or not. I just always go to the gym. So I always do something. So I feel like as long as you're always doing something, as long as you're always trying to... As long as you're always doing the thing, I am always... Maybe it's slow progress, but what is it they say? The tortoise wins the race? The tortoise, the slow tortoise, that's what I am. I'm a slow tortoise. How about that? My 8-month calls me Dada. It's pretty dope. Yeah, the first time your kids ever call you Dad is very dope. And yeah, they're like, it does take about 8 months to a year for them to speak for the first time, but no, it's super dope. It's lovely. Even now, like, my little girl sometimes says to me like, okay, Dad, thanks, Dad, and it's just like, oh, just melts your heart, man. I think, by the way, I'm ending the stream in just a minute, but I think we figured out the charity that, like, I was speaking to Alex, actually. I think Alex was in the chat a little bit earlier. I think we figured out the charity we're going to do for this year's Blood Angels Commander giveaway, because I was having a bit of problems figuring out the charity, and there's some complicated issues, but I think we've maybe figured it out. And it's going to be another children's hospital, and it's going to be a children's hospital in the US this time. So hopefully, things are figured out a little bit. So all I got to do now is, now that we've picked the charity, I need to email them, so I need a little bit of time to do that. Not sure when I'm going to do it, but in the next couple of weeks I'm going to email them, see if we can figure out a way, and then we'll get the raffle set up, and we're going to do that with the original charity I was trying to do when America didn't quite pan out. So I think we figured out a new one, and I think it's like basically a children's hospital where, like, they pay for everything. So, like, if the parents can't afford the medical treatment, it happens for the children anyway. So that's a charity I can totally get behind. So that's what I'm going to do the next raffle for. I think I must have like 6 or 7 raffle prizes this year, and most of it's Crimson Lord stuff. Like, I've got like 7 different Crimson Lord kits, maybe even more. So we'll figure that out. Slow and steady wins the race. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Slow and steady wins the race. Thanks. I'm slow and steady. I get there in the end. I often joke that I need to get a recording of myself saying stop doing that to play for the kids. You know what? We joke the same thing in our house. We wish that because we've got an Alexa in the kitchen, and we wish the Alexa could just be programmed to say, like, every 10 minutes, like, come on, eat your dinner, kids. Because we feel like every night we have to say like 15 times, like, you like chicken nuggets? Can you please start eating the chicken nuggets? Because you've sat with those chicken nuggets in front of you for 20 minutes and you haven't had a bite. That's our evenings. So I hope you can relate to that, Tron. Because like, we just want the Alexa to every 2 minutes just be like, come on kids, eat your chicken nuggets. I'm surprised, I mean, considering how big Amazon are, I'm surprised they haven't got that as a function for the Alexa. Alright guys, I hope you all had a good evening. Thank you so much for hanging out. Please leave a like on the stream. I got a new tactics video coming out Friday, all about Blood Angels at the LVO and Angelic Inheritors. So if you're still not sure about Angelic Inheritors, that's coming Friday. I'll probably be back doing a bit more painting of these 4 characters and maybe the Sanguinor, so that we can play them on Wednesday next week with my new Angelic Inheritors list. All these characters do now have 4 colours on them. They are very, very basic. And there's the Tycho with the Crimson Lord head. You can sort of see his half golden mask. Put a little bit of flesh tone on him. Cool. It's been enjoyable. Thanks again for being here. Leave a like before you head off. I would appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the comment section probably on Friday, and if not, I'll see you guys on Saturday. So, take care. Nice to see you. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good YouTube algorithm stuff. I do very much appreciate it. Alright, peace. Good night.